For everyone on YouTube watching this, I'm very sorry. If this is going to be a problem in the future, then Twitch is I mainly will stream this, and on YouTube I will upload it again. So, and I will make it clear at the beginning. I will actually write a short text so that when it's on YouTube, it doesn't have all this in front of it. But for now, how about we actually start reading? That's the whole point while we were here. Oh my god. I cannot believe. I'm still baffled. I'm still very much baffled. But okay. You know what? It is what it is. So first, SCP-630 is called Black Glacier. It's a short one. It's Euclid. Decent rating. I'm gonna leave the music on. I hope that's okay for y'all. And just for the hell of it, just make it a little bit louder so you guys can hear it. Yeah. I'm going to send some people a link so that people will actually join, you know, and I want to get affiliated, so we need to have some people here. We need to get people to watch this with us. Copy link. Boom. There we go. Okay. How are you guys doing, by the way, in the meantime, while I'm faffing over this thing? Let's see if I can get my friend to join us. That would be really dope if he could. If he could, that would be very dope. That would be very cool. If he can't, oh well. Alright. And after like halfway through, we also have to get something to drink because of course the throat cannot handle reading all the time. But here we go. Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-630 is contained blank meter underground in the remains of a copper mine. Blank kilometer north of blank. Peru blank blank S blank blank west. Well, south and west. The chamber containing SCP-630 is to be as brightly lit as resources allow using LED and fluorescent lights and sealed behind blast doors. Weekly maintenance is to be performed by Class D personnel only, including inspecting and replacing any burnt out lights, use of provided GPS and solar rangefinders to measure and plot movements of the leading edge of SCP-630. Since the blank copper mine lies in one of the harshest deserts environments on the planet and contains no other SCP entities, containment is as simple as restricting access to the mine and proper handling of persons affected. SCP-630 is estimated to move at a rate of 30 meters a year through an extensive system of caverns, and research is being conducted on its future path as well as mapping expedition into the caves. Don't glaciers, I know that glaciers move as well, right? That's why, like, sometimes you, I remember this in geography. Sometimes when you see like a boulder, and like years later the boulder is like somewhere else, that's because like throughout the winter when there's a glacier around that area, it actually does move a little bit, and the boulder just gets like, so, okay, 30 meters a year. I'm not sure if that's like fast considered for a glacier or if that's slow considered for a glacier, because I forgot what like the average speed of a glacier is, but okay, I see you. As long as it remains contained. How do you contain a glacier? Like, do you just tell the whole mountainside is just not not accessible? Is that what you do? Is like you just close off the whole mountain? As long as it remains contained, SCP-630's movement is not projected to pose a direct threat to populated areas. Can you imagine? You want to go hiking or mountain climbing, and then there's a whole like official military people just like, yeah, no, not this one. It's one you can't do that. Not anymore. It's not good. Nope. How about you take the mountain 500 kilometers away from here? Just long distance away, please. But it did say it's underground, so it's. But at the end, I still imagine they wouldn't let anybody on the mountain. Handling of any samples of SCP-630 or affected materials is to be done only with full reflective thermal gear. Any person exposed to direct skin contact with SCP-630 is to be considered dangerous and is classified as -1. Exposed subjects are to be quarantined until arrangements can be made for their disposal. Samples of SCP-630 and remains of Dash 1 subjects are to be disposed of by ignition from a distance with a mixture of aluminum and sodium hydroxide. And so you want to keep a distance when you dispose of it, because you never know what will happen to you now, do ya? Description. SCP-630 is a 130-meter wide underground glacier and, according to surface sonar scans, at least 12 kilometer long. 12 kilometer long? That's a fair distance. That's a fair distance. Moving at an estimated 30 meters a year. So I assume it's just a block of a glacier. Just 12 kilometer long, 130 meter wide is also, that's pretty big, and it just moves like ever so slow. It's a snail. It's a snail of SCPs until no, actually never mind. There is a corrosive snail, but instead of it being slow as fuck, it's the speed of a bullet. So you know, doesn't matter. Excuse me. It is composed of what is theorized to be a mixture of water ice, which is an opaque black and does not reflect any form of visible light or electromagnetic radiation. The leading edge of the glacier is fragile enough to take samples from. However, they have been shown to withstand ambient temperatures of over 1,500 degrees Celsius without melting. First of all, what do you have to use to get that temperature? Like, I'm pretty sure they have some sort of like plasma or laser, and just it do not melt, sir. Well, we can't get rid of this thing then. Temperature probes indicate that the glacier is cooled to about -10 degrees Celsius, and any significant melting can only be achieved by a sustained exothermic reaction with the water molecules within the ice. When melted, SCP-630 reverts to ordinary, slightly impure water and displays a normal reflection absorption spectrum. Any sources of water exposed to SCP-630 crystallize, forming ice which behaves for all intents and purposes as part of the original glacier. When samples are placed in contact with naturally occurring ice, no change is recorded in either sample. Research is ongoing into an emergency cryogenic containment protocol in the event that any SCP-630 affected materials are ever introduced to an unsecured body of water. Basically, any rivers, lakes, brooks, anything that might connect the SCP to, you know, humans. You don't want that. You don't want that with SCPs now, do you? Personnel working around SCP-630 report. Frequent. Reason why I saw request, I saw report and frequent, and I put the QUE into the report, and I thought it was a request. I'm sorry, my eyes go faster than my brain thinks. Well, actually no, my brain thinks good enough. My eyes go fast, and my mouth then just confused. Report frequent auditory hallucinations, most often the sound of someone pleading or calling for help from within the. Oh no. Oh no. Can you imagine you are just going on your casual hike? Just going out there. Just, you know, you're just with friends. It's nice and it's cold. You have your layers, you have your snacks and your drinks, and you just going on and about, and next thing you know, you hear like a you're like, was that you? No, man. You? No, well, I asked you first. It wouldn't be me. But we all heard it. Yeah, we all heard it. Oh, and you're like, is that coming from the ice? No. Surely not. Surely it can't be. Okay, yeah, it's from the ice. Okay. What do we do now? I did not think about this. I did not think that there would be issues down there below. Wait, I can actually record this right now. That's too late now. I will take it from the Twitch stream. Staff have reported that over a period of time, these hallucinations can create a difficult to resist impulse to make physical contact with SCP-630. Of course, because like if you constantly hear fucking screams and calls of help, Did I just get messages? No, I did not. Coming from an ice block, naturally, you would be like, how do I get you out of there? Recording equipment has yet to pick up any unexplained noises, but has detected low-frequency sounds consistent with glacial movement. Acquisition reports also indicate that miners originally broke through a rock wall into the cavern, thinking that they were following the cries of others trapped by a cave-in. This is good. This SCP is good, because imagine the panic. Imagine the panic you will get just from being near this thing. The idea that there are people like behind a block or inside a block of ice, or like you think they're in a cave-in and you're outside, far away from civilization. Maybe, I don't know how well, I mean, it does say Peru, but I don't know how far away from like an actual like town, village, city, hut this thing is. But imagine just being all out there by yourself and you hear this shit. You would of course panic and try to like, I'll get you out of there, brother. But then yeah, you find out that this thing is maybe something else. When direct skin contact is made, here we go. With SCP-630, the body ceases to reflect any incoming light, causing it to turn pitch black and rendered blind. The body ceases to reflect any incoming... Oh, wait. My body just becomes like... And when blind, deaf, and mute, extensive testing indicates that SCP-630 affects only warm-blooded animals, birds and mammals, reptiles, amphibians, invertebrates, and fish remain unaffected. Well, you lucky bastards. In the meantime, if I touch it, I'll be like, well, it's been... Aside from going into a hypothermic shock, you don't get away completely unscathed. Once exposed, those specimens are classified as -1. Affected subjects do not respond to any visual or auditory stimuli, instead feeling out their surroundings through touch and vibration, and will often follow walls and hide in corners. Analysis of -1 indicates that internal temperature decreases as much as 5 degrees Celsius an hour, and you're gonna get cold. And subjects will instinctively attempt to make contact with heat sources. Let me guess. I assume if they touch somebody else, it will spread, or they will go to extreme length to get warm, aka jump in lava maybe, including fire, electronic equipment, incandescent lighting, and any nearby humans, and must have been reported to mob handlers as they attempt to find warmth, resulting in several severe cases of hypothermia. Attempts to communicate with -1 have met with failure, since subjects are rendered too single-minded in their search for heat to respond. Yeah, also deaf, blind, and mute. That is a combo. That's the, you cannot talk to them or communicate back. They cannot communicate to you either. They can maybe do like hand motions to you, like, oh shit, I need warmth. I don't know, but other than that, I don't think you can do anything with them. Unless they learn Braille beforehand, then you can maybe give them like hello, and you're like, oh okay, yeah. But even then, they cannot speak, and they cannot see if they write something. It's literally impossible. While they may be hard to see, -1 are vulnerable to physical injury and are easy enough to dispatch. However, care must be taken in disposing of the remains, as any fluids escaping from the body quickly solidifies and can affect unprotected personnel. Or they become like ice spikes out of their hands or something. Or like chest, like you get shot in the chest and it just freezes over. Over the course of exposure, -1 will begin to show lessened speed and motor skills, and eventually find a corner or enclosed space, curl into a fetal position, and finally cease movement altogether. The temperature around -1 continues to lower until it reaches -10 degrees Celsius, at which point any ambient humidity combined with the body's natural water content finally freezes into a layer of ice over the subject. After reaching this final phase, any skin contact creates the same effect as SCP-630. In addition, attempts to melt the ice have yet to reveal any trace of organic remains. I never thought I'd be so glad that they found this thing in such a godforsaken place. While it seems unlikely that enough of this crap will ever get into the large enough body of water to cause any sort of XK event within our lifetime, it looks like it will be moving into the aquifers of the Amazon basin within the next blank years, Dr. Blank. Okay. That's a hectic one. That's a hectic one to start with, but that was pretty good, I gotta say. That was a good That's a good start, I will admit. Here we go. Let me just. Okay, no, I honestly, this is a. The first half was already like freaky enough, right? It's already freaky enough that the thing makes you hear shit. You're like, oh, I think I hear people in danger, and I'm the only person around. Maybe I can save them. And next thing you know, you touch that thing, and you become just. What's the? I forgot the term. I forgot the mineral. That's like purely black. And you become that. And next thing you know, you can't hear shit. You can't speak. You can't see. The only thing you can do is smell and touch and touch. And next thing, yeah. And you just get colder and colder. And you. I wonder how many people, like if there was lava, I wonder how many people would jump into it and be like, this is fine, but then just die. But they wouldn't care because it's just, literally they would try so hard to find any sort of heat. They would just be like, I'd rather die of this than being cold again. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing this because I had to write down all the titles for the YouTube one, which now, as you are aware, didn't work for some goddamn reason. But yeah, Nyctophobic nocturnal predator. What does even nyctophobic mean? Nyctophobic is an extreme fear of night or dark. Well, that's ironic because isn't nocturnal meaning that you're only active at night? So you are afraid of the dark, but you are active at night. And it's a predator, man. You have a shitty life. You're like, okay, time to hunt. Wait. It's nighttime. It's nighttime. No. But I must feast. I must have food. But it's night. What am I supposed to do now? Okay, but let's see what this nyctophobic predator, nocturnal predator is all about. It's Keith. Well, okay. I did not expect it to be Keter of all things. I honestly did not expect that. Special containment procedures is as long. Nope, it's just as long as the previous one, which is nice. I like this kind of length of SCPs. Extermination procedures for SCP-631 are to remain in effect until further notice. Information regarding civilian disappearance in SCP-631's environment, urban and suburban areas of the United States, is to be monitored. Is it fucking Mothman? With particular regards to the areas outlined in document 631-T. Disappearances related or believed to be related to SCP-631 are to be filtered. Standard media blackout procedures apply. Said incidents are to be investigated promptly, and should an instance of SCP-631 be identified, it must be terminated immediately. In the event that no SCP-631 are in the Foundation custody, the instance must be captured instead. Agents involved in SCP-631's recovery or termination must be supplied with thermal imaging equipment. Mobile task forces NU-11 and Omicron 17 are to be regularly deployed to the area outlined in document 631-T. The airspace of these areas is to be thoroughly examined via thermal imaging for SCP-631 instances. You're not unconvincing me that this might be Mothman. It would make sense. Mothman would look for light. It would be like, oh, where's the light? I want light, and Mothman could potentially fly, right? I'm just saying. It might be him. It might be him. One instance of SCP-631 is to remain in containment for study. Wait, one instance? There are multiple Mothmen. Oh god, can you imagine getting chased down through the forest by Mothmen? Multiple of these fuckers. Oh no, thank you. I don't need that in my life. For study and secured in a concrete cell, the instance must be restrained at all times and exposed to artificial sunlight. It is to remain pacified by the serum 631 gamma and delivered sustenance via IV feeding. Should the organism status deteriorate, 1 D-class personnel may be allotted for SCP-631's natural feeding and reproduction activity. All the produced offspring save for 1 are to be terminated, and the remaining instance is to be contained as instructed above. Okay, so it can have offsprings too. That is fantastic. Great. There are multiple of these things, and it can have children. Oh, hallelujah. What are you? If you're a Mothman, I swear to God, I was right. I was right on the money. But if it isn't, then missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. You should let me write this. Actually, no. That's just arrogant to say. SCP-631 is a species of a large predatory organism with a vaguely crustacean appearance. Okay, I didn't. Crustacean appearance that can fly. They possess a wing morphology consistent with the order Chiroptera and a reptilian tail terminating in a venomous stinger. Okay, what is the Chiroptera? Because it doesn't say on here. But it has a scorpion tail, basically. So it looks like a bat. But the wings, they possess a wing. Okay. The wings look like bat wings, and it has a scorpion tail. Well, no, it says reptilian tail terminating in a venomous stinger. So it's... Okay, interesting. This tail also contains the majority of the organism's reproductive systems. Mature instances of SCP-631 are roughly 135 centimeters in length and 42 kilograms in that ish. So 1 meter 35 centimeters, and that's a 42 kilos. That's pretty heavy for one of these guys. Granted, it's like pretty small though too. So SCP-631 appear to be genderless. SCP-631 are rendered imperceptible in the visual spectrum when exposed to sunlight. The mechanism for this remains unidentified. However, testing has revealed that this response is triggered by heightened levels of cholecalciferol, vitamin D3, in the organism's bloodstream. SCP-631 remain detectable by the heat signature. Because of this, it is known that they remain almost entirely airborne during daylight hours. Wow. Okay. But they're nocturnal. Right? That's part of the title. That's part of who they are. So, I mean, but they're also scared of the darkness. So, how does that work? SCP-631 do not sleep and remain active at night. Furthermore, they demonstrate distress or panic in response to a low light environment. Maybe you should learn how to sleep. Maybe just knock each other out, man. Just be like, I wanna sleep, bro, and then your bro SCP is just like, yeah, I got you, and then you're like, until one remains, and he's the only one that gets to panic throughout the night. He's like, oh, nobody's here to knock me out. It's just fucking panics at night while everybody else is dead asleep because they got knocked out. This reaction worsens in intensity over time and appears can only be elevated by immediately feeding on or exposure to daylight. It has to be daylight. It cannot just be normal light. So you can't just shine a big ass flashlight into their face and they'll be like, oh, thank you. If you've seen the Markiplier video where he has like the strongest flashlight, where I imagine that, like you shine that and they're like, oh, it feels like the sun's out again. Which, by the way, speaking of that flashlight, who the hell decided that they need to create a flashlight that strong? When do you ever need a flashlight that strong that would light up the city like it was daytime, huh? I remember when Mark like shined it into the sky and it looked. I'm pretty sure from everybody in the neighborhood town, they were like, "Is the sun's up? What the hell's happening out there?" Okay, the organism will subsequently locate the nearest isolated sleeping human and impale the victim's throat with its stick. Ow. Rude, I'm asleep. Excuse you. Thus preventing any vocal reactions. Oh, okay, smart. Just choking you out, man. Just making sure that... And yeah. Yeah. Following the injection of its paralytic venom, SCP-631 will remain in its position for 2 to 3 minutes while the victim expires. That is... Imagine seeing that. Just like... You just... For 3 solid minutes, you see that thing just... And you're like... Gotta move! But you can't. Because he probably like just sits on you. Just 40 kilos like in you while there's a tail like... Just Keanu Reeves, the Matrix, like into your throat. Then it will quickly consume the victim's internal organs, replacing them with fertilized eggs produced via its tail. 10 to 15 minutes following the reproductive act, the original instance of SCP-631 will expire, its body putrefying rapidly. Are you telling me this thing, without my consent, reproduces itself with, like... by using my body? I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure. I don't think really. I don't feel really good about that. Nope. And then it dies. So it's not. It's like, wow, it was, man. You were good. Dies. The eggs require approximately 1 hour to. Man, this thing has a very precise like. 3 minutes, I'll suck you dry. 10 to 15 minutes, I'll lay eggs in ya. An hour later, the microwave. Ding! Children. At which point, the newborn SCP-631 will consume the remainder of the victim's body. Okay, well, at least they clean up after themselves. After the post-birth feeding, the instances will retreat to a secluded location and begin their growth period, during which they are inactive. Except that they maybe panic at night. Immature SCP-631 develop at an extremely accelerated rate, reaching the adult size within roughly 4 hours. That is way too fast. 4 hours? It's just like... Due to these factors, the lifespan of SCP-631, including birth, feeding, and reproduction and death, can be short as 24 hours. They're basically... They're like the 24-hour, like the day flies. The one that only lasts, like flies that only live for like 1 day and then perish. Just way bigger, way freakier, and the only way for them to reproduce is by killing us. So yeah. Observation of SCP-631's behavior have revealed that they do not eat during daylight and will only prey upon sleeping and isolated human beings. In the absence of sustenance, SCP-631 are capable of surviving an average for 30 days. Ah, okay. Wait, so... But the lifespan... Oh, because, okay, I see. If they find somebody to inject the tail at, then they can... they last for 24 hours because, they, of course, they die after, you know, laying eggs. But if they don't, they can survive for 30 days, which is a bit too long for my taste. I feel like they should die after, like, a week. You know, just like a week later, like, ah, shit. I didn't get laid, bro. I'll die a virgin. Investigation and findings. Good. Die a virgin, you freaks. Investigation and findings. SCP-631 has been traced to a Dr. Alan Forsyth and subsequently to a facility owned by a said individual in blank, comma, blank, period. The investigation of this site determined that it had been abandoned in 2000 blank, and no personnel were discovered therein. What follows are excerpts of documents recovered from site. Rudimentary biological systems are functional, circulatory, respiratory, reproductive, gastrointestinal. Still work on some hiccups with neurological and endorsing. The subjects have stopped dying from their own venom, which is always a plus. Nah, it's a fucking big minus for me, dude. Through some pheromone manipulation, we've tailored them to instinctively hunt Homo sapiens successfully, but we hit a very troublesome snag. We can get them to hunt the proper prey, but can't control how and when they do so. Obviously, this is a problem because we can't have them flying around killing people in broad daylight. in broad daylight, they just crash for you. Honestly, I would be just as scared seeing these fuckers crash through my window in broad daylight and tail like trying to stab me in my throat. I'd be like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like in nighttime it's freaky because you don't really see it. And it's just that your imagination go wild. But in daytime, when you actually see it, and you see it's a monster, and it just doesn't care that it's that the public is watching, they just come at ya. They're like, yeah, you're my food now. Like, that's just as scary to me. Electrolocation is working miracles. We can direct them to subjects in an NRM or REM cerebral states. Okay, so they can now indicate if somebody's asleep or not. Well, you just go do all-nighters then. And some careful tinkering with pheromone activity also predisposes them towards isolated targets. This should keep them restricted to the right prey with a roughly 4% margin of error. We can't be entirely sure who doesn't sleep outside at night. I see, yeah. The project is nearly ready for field testing, but there is still one crucial flaw we need to address. They look expunged. Solar camouflage is functioning correctly, but we're having significant difficulty controlling the predatory behavior. Due to necessary metabolic alterations, the adults have no urge to feed. In testing, certain methods can be used to force such a response, but that is impossible in the field. This is actually really interesting to see an SCP being created. Which, yes, there have been multiple SCPs that just got created by technological SCPs, and Dr. One Entertainment's SCPs are all like that. They're created by him. But it's interesting to see like a biological SCP just being like a mad scientist going out like, oh yeah, we're gonna make this happen. The following is handwritten and scrawled on a roughly cut piece of paper. Fight or fly will work, but make it stronger. Data expunge. Produce acetaldehyde, so it should result in something like a severe hangover. With that pheromone manipulation, it should equate physical pain with a desire to procreate. The rest is easy. The following is also handwritten, but appears to be a formal letter. Your offer is accepted. The payment will be transferred upon completion of the project. Those miserable reprobates are going to destroy any chance of my re-election. If the situation is not handled swiftly, I don't care what you have to do to take care of it. Do it. Blank blank. Fingerprints on the letter are consistent with Dr. Forsyth and blank blank blank. So somebody wanted to create this SCP to be re-elected? Or is or no, maybe I'm misunderstanding this wrong. Maybe he found out about these things and it's going haywire, and he's saying like, deal with them because my election is up and I need the people's votes, something like that. I don't know. It could be both ways, right? But okay. So it's basically, yeah, okay. Very interesting. I do like the idea that it's an SCP that was created for a purpose, and the purpose is just messed up. It's just like, yeah, it's literally meant to kill humans, right? It even says like it only aims for Homo sapiens, which is weird because you're one. So wouldn't it eventually go after you unless you have some way of controlling it, of course? But I feel like anything that gets created to be like, oh, it will aim to create people, to kill people. And then I'm like, my man, you're a person too. It will potentially go after you next. And it's like, no, I got the control right here. As long as I have this, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. Intrusive arachnid thoughts. I just saw that spider picture there. I was like, okay. I don't mind spiders. I think I actually prefer spiders over any other insect inside my house. Like most insects, I just get the glass top, sheet of paper below, and I'm like, okay, little buddy, come out. put them out. With spiders, I'm like, dude, you take care of flies and mosquitoes for me. Like why would I want you out of here? Why? Like, you take care of the more annoying ones for me. So I'm perfectly content for you to stay. I understand other people like, oh, scared of spiders because they just look freaky. But here we go. It's another Euclid. Okay, and this one is the highest rating so far. A live colony of SCP-632. That is a colony, guys. That's a whole. Okay, I will admit those the spider eggs. You know, the ones where like there's like a sack and you step on it accidentally, or you just poke it and then just thousands of spiders crawl out. That is freaky. Even like that is a bit too much. That is a bit too much. It's currently kept in a 20 centimeters by 40 centimeters by 20 centimeters sealed enclosure in the biological containment wing of Site 52. Sufficient amounts of prey, insects, and water must be administered weekly through a vacuum chute at the side of the enclosure. Both live and deceased samples of SCP-632 must be handled by personnel wearing full-body respiratory protective gear. Skin contact with SCP-632 instances to be avoided at all times. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. A majority of SCPs, you want to avoid any contact, any physical contact. Majority of the SCPs is the case. The water nymph is an exception. I would want to hug her and be like, I'm sorry what they did to you. I'm very sorry. Like, you didn't deserve this. Personnel report. I think I'm gonna be reading to like SCP-5000, and I'll still be pissed off what the Foundation did to the water nymph. Personnel reporting headaches, sensation of spider silk on skin, and intrusive thoughts about spiders must submit to MRI scans to determine the presence of SCP-632 manifestation. Okay. Affected individuals are to be sedated. Oh god. Are to be sedated and restrained before the onset of late-stage manifestation, and any newly formed SCP-632 instances are to be surgically removed. So do they grow out of you? Uncontained instances of SCP-632 in the wild are to be destroyed on site. Okay, well, here we go. Description: SCP-632 is a type of arachnid that reproduces via unconventional means. Do you mean as in like, you know, it pops out of our brains just the way Athena popped out of Zeus? That kind of unconventional, or do you mean any way else? Because I'm pretty sure that the description, the containment procedures kind of explain the unconventional means, my brother. Mature instances measure 10. How did I read 11 out of 10? 10 to 15 millimeters in length and are highly social, living in colonies numbering up to 500 individuals. While the exoskeleton of SCP-632 instances is composed of a substance resembling calcified fat, the interior is almost entirely derived from differentiated human brain tissue. SCP-632 is unusual among arachnid species in that both male and female SCP-632 are physiologically similar. Sexual organs of both appear to be merely vestigial, likely as a result of its reproductive methods. SCP-632 reproduces by exposing a human host to an array of sensory triggers. Such triggers include the visual pattern on SCP-632 abdomen, the tactile sensation produced by SCP-632 crawling on human skin, and several as yet unidentified chemical compounds released by mature SCP-632 instances. Okay. They have multiple ways to get your attention. 2 to 3 hours following exposure to all of SCP-632 sensory triggers, affected individuals will experience mild headaches, sensation of spider silk on their skin, and repeated intrusive thoughts about spiders. MRI scans at this stage of infection reveal the presence of hundreds of small filament-like structures measuring 2 to 3 centimeters in length, forming in the frontal cortex of infected individuals' brains. The mechanism of cellular differentiation is as yet unknown to Foundation researchers, but is presumed to be similar to Redacted, observed in victims of SCP-1204. The pressure exerted on cerebral blood vessels by these structures causes headaches and in infected individuals localized towards the front of the skull. Oh, like right here? Repeated tapping on the affected area causes the filament-like structure to release large amounts of endorphins, effectively elevating the pain caused by the swelling. I mean, I can see how for the person, how great I would feel to just do this and just, I mean, like, oh, yeah, that feels good. But it probably will just come back, right? Growth of such structures can be halted via timely administration of Class B amnestics. However, while this method prevents total SCP-632 manifestation from occurring, it does not cause existing symptoms to abate. Okay, so you can stop a creation of SCP-632, but any symptoms before will just stay then. Not sure how I feel about that, guys. Not sure how I feel about that. As SCP-632 manifestation progresses, affected individuals will experience gradual thinning of the anterior brain lining and skull, as bone, muscle, and fat tissue is gradually incorporated into the filament-like structures in the frontal cortex. 6 to 7 days following initial exposure, headaches experienced by affected individuals will increase sharply and in intensity and duration. It's kind of the Fooly Cooly thing, you know, when he grows like a fucking horn out. This is due to the filament-like structures having already developed fully into instances of juvenile SCP-632, which greatly exacerbate the pressure on the cerebral blood vessels via their movements. Affected individuals at this point tend to apply increasing amounts of force to their forehead in order to release enough endorphins to reduce the pain to tolerable levels. Eventually, most affected individuals end up fracturing their own skulls through accidental application of excessive force, at which point 80 to 200 instances of SCP-632 will exit the brain from the weakened point in the forehead. Ooh. That is crazy. That is messed up. Imagine you just bash your forehead and it's just spiders. Complete SCP-632 manifestation is usually fatal. Yeah, I imagine it's fatal. There's 200 of these fuckers coming out. Yeah, man. However, if promptly attended to be qualified medicinal personnel, 86% of hosts in the final stage of SCP-632 manifestation do manage to survive, albeit with a permanent decrease in motor function, reduced impulse control, and severe arachnophobia. I think it would have severe phobia to anything. You'll be scared of anything. Anything coming close to you that might just... Any headache, anything that causes a headache, you'll be like, nuh-uh, I'm out. Stay away from me. Give me, operate on me. Just make sure it's not a fucking spider again. Oh my god, the 9/10/1972 Z-Blank Anhui Province breach event. The entire town of Z-Blank was reportedly found bludgeoned to death. So they probably, yeah, I mean, they probably just, they head banged so hard that they all died. Rapid response team discovered numerous SCP-632 super colonies throughout Z-Blank, each comprising thousands of individuals. The super colonies were thought to sustain themselves on the swarms of flies attracted to the decaying bodies of the villagers. 106 dead, 23 injured. Those injured people, they must be like... I mean, it might also be the agency that got sent there, but still, like, those 23 people that have survived all this, they're like, I can't function normally anymore. I just don't want to do anything anymore in my life. 30th 1999. Suicheng, Anhui Province. Wang Shi, an employee of the Ministry of Agriculture. This is 27 years later. Okay. Collapsed at a clinic in downtown Suicheng after reporting to have suffered from chronic headaches. Wang fractured her skull against a concrete wall, resulting in numerous SCP-632 instances reaching her cranial cavity and causing 20 people to be exposed to the sensory triggers. The resultant manifestations were not detected until much later, when 16 of the affected individuals had already managed to expose 291 more individuals to SCP-632. Wow. 27 dead, 293 injured. Dude, like, can you imagine you see like a person that you know, or a person that you're aware of, or just a person collapsing or bashing their brains out, and next thing you know, just spiders come out of it. Like, the fact that you already probably have a panic attack for the fact that somebody's just like and you're like, oh my god, call an ambulance, call a doctor, call the ambulance, and next thing you know, and you're like, what, why? How? And now 2 years later, Xiaomiao, Henan Province, Li Senqing, as an 86-year-old woman living alone. Oh no. Not grandma. Not grandma. Was found dead by social workers in her home with her eyes missing. What? Although her body was not in a state of advanced decomposition, an autopsy revealed almost 100% of her brain to be absent. Foundation agents embedded in the pathology department of Blank Hospital gained access to the scene and discovered an SCP-632 colony residing in the ceiling board above Lee's bed. It was theorized that Lee had been rendered bedridden and repeatedly exposed to SCP-632, resulting in almost all her brain tissue being converted into SCP-632 instances. The instances then apparently exited her skull through her eye sockets, as Lee was too weak to fracture her own skull. 1 dead, 5 injured. Oh boy. Ow. My goodness. Intrusive is an understatement. That's a fucking raid on your brains, dude. It's just a raid. That's all it is. Wow. Wow, dude. That is messed up. The things that those things do is messed up. I cannot believe it. I just can't believe you done this. Okay. Oh boy, we have another one of these, huh? Okay. I'm looking forward to what this one is. Ghost in the Machine. Oh, it used to be Euclid, but it's Kita now, but it has the lowest rating of all the ones we get so far. Okay then. Hello, I'm the ghost. Pleased to meet you, researcher. You look like a Game Boy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it looks like the... But I might be wrong. Who knows? You clicked, slashed out, crossed out, Keto. SCP-633 containment chamber located inside 77 is an underground Faraday cage. Access is restricted to level 3. Slash 630. Oh, okay, 633. Okay, personnel. So, a very specific personnel then. Not just any level, like any level 3. It's just that only people who actually work with that SCP are allowed. Those personnel are assigned to only work with this one, I guess. The network controlled by SCP-633 is to be communicated with through an Apple. Hey! Lexi, oh my god, I can barely see that color. But hey, welcome to the Fluffy's exhibition. Welcome to the stream. I had some massive difficulties, I tell you what. I was trying to stream to YouTube and to Twitch in the same time, and for some reason it didn't work. It used to work. It used to be very fine, but it didn't work today. But welcome to the stream. I'm so happy, and I can see from your emotes that you, yes, Peachadora, I see it. So I'm glad you're here. What you missed out on. By the way, as you probably can tell from the title, I read 10 SCPs. What you missed out on, you missed out on a black, ginormous glacier. It's, how much? It's 130 meters wide, 12 kilometers long. When you're close to it, it makes you think people are stuck in that glacier. Like, it will make you hallucinate that you think people are calling for help inside it, which I told, it's fucking freaky, okay? That is messed up. And then if you touch it, your whole body becomes pitch black. You become deaf, mute, and blind. And then your core temperature decreases to minus 10 degrees Celsius, which means that most of the things inside and outside of your body freezes. And this glacier also moves, which is nice. It moves 30 meters a year. But yeah, basically if you touch it, you'll get frozen to death and you can't see shit, you can't hear shit, you can't speak. Wait, hold on. Nyctophobic nocturnal predator. So I learned that nyctophobic means you're scared of the night, which is ironic because it's nocturnal. But it's an SCP that looks like a giant bat with a lizard tail that has a stinger, and they jab you in your throat, drain you with, or pump you full with venom, basically. Then they lay eggs inside you, die. The eggs hatch, eat you up, and then they go out. But if it's nighttime, they fucking panic. But they also know if you're asleep. So they hunt at night, at daytime, they fly around, they don't sleep, but at nighttime they just like, they fucking, they just go like that. Yeah, what a way to go, eh? And the last one, intrusive arachnid thoughts. Spiders the size of a rice corn make you activate some triggers, and if you are activated by those like sensory triggers, you will get headache. It will grow. There will be a growth, and after a while, you will bash your head out, and 50 to 200 spiders will crawl out because they are made out of one of your bit of your brains. So that's what you missed. Ain't this a lovely start? And these are only the first 3 SCPs of the 10. So, you know, we got a way to go. My worst. Yes. You know, spiders coming out of my brain. Like, it even says, like, they come out of a very unconventional means. And I was like, oh, yeah, really? I would say that's more than unconventional. I would just say that's really messed up. Like, can you imagine you see your friend just bashing their head out just until this exposed? You know, like, you panic and you're just like, call the ambulance, bro, call them. And the next thing you know, spiders all over the place. You're like, this. I never learned this in medical school. I never learned this in first aid help either. I don't. What to do? What do I do now? But yeah, that is what you missed. And now we shall continue. By the way, can you tell me if the music is too loud, too quiet? If I'm too loud, too quiet? Reminds me of a spider bite story from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I think I know which one you mean. I haven't read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but I feel like I heard about this one where like a spider bites you. It's like a big growth, and then like another spider pops out of it. I think I heard about this one. It's perfect in my opinion. Excellent. All right. Yes, we shall now read Ghost in the Machine. So I assume whatever this machine, it looks like a Game Boy in my opinion, but whatever this machine is, there must be like a screen. It might just be a computer. It is the lowest rated one, but you know what? On this channel, we don't care about ratings. We enjoy this thing on our own. The girl who thinks she has a pimple, but it's a spider egg laid in her. Oh yes. I think, isn't that in the movie as well? Like I'm pretty sure in the movie that they recently made, a blonde girl has a pimple and she like pops it and then the spider comes out. Yes. Okay. Now we're on the same page. Euclid slashed out. Keter. SB633's containment chamber located inside 77 is an underground Faraday cage. Access is restricted to level 3/633 personnel. The network controlled by SB633 is to be communicated with through an Apple Macintosh 520 kilobyte computer. That is a very specific choice of device to use. In addition, 3 Apple II Plus computers with disk 2 5 1/4 floppy disk drivers are to be given a monthly software rotation. As the original usable software library of the machines has been completely used as of 21/2/2014, new software is being developed by internal development teams. Okay. I wonder why that's... I guess this Ghost in the Machine must have been found really early on then, that the fact that they're using a Macintosh from the 90s basically. Biohazard gear is required when serving or interacting with SB633 in order to prevent infection. Once per week, researchers are to enter the SB633 containment area to drain it of fluids and provide regularly scheduled Excuse me, what? So you tell me this Ghost in the Machine just is out here just emitting ectoplasm, I guess. If you consider like the Ghostbusters logic, they just do release ectoplasm all over the place. Okay, an understanding of late 1970s technology and cultural references is necessary to prevent accidental introduction of banned ideas to SB633. The more I'm reading, the more I am like, I'm losing track of what this thing does. Which is, of course, always the case when you read the containment procedure. Like, sometimes it would be like, yeah, this SCP, like, it's fucking giant, but we have, like, a small cage for it. You're like, wait, so how does that work? But, the proposal to interface additional 8-bit game or computing machines is under consideration. However, the consequences of introducing SB633 to the concept of newer computers in a way it could fully understand may cause unforeseen consequences. The Sector 633 protocol requires all computational devices created post 1979 to be checked in before entering to the SB633 containment area. So okay, so it is currently inside an old computer, and that's probably the reason why they're using old computers, because you don't wanna walk in with a new Mac and then this thing is like, what is that? What is that you have there? What is that? Oh my god, it is Scooby-Doo in Cyber Chase. It is. It just comes out. Oh my god. You just sent me down memory lane. I haven't watched Scooby-Doo and Cyber Chase in forever. I have it somewhere behind us in a DVD. But man, that was one of the movies I got from the European manager of Warner Brothers. When he came to visit, he was like, "Hey, here you go, boy. Here's a new Scooby-Doo DVD." And I was like, "Oh shit, damn." Of course, I didn't say that. I was like 8. I would never swear as an 8-year-old. But, man, that was good times. Description. SCP-633 is a supernatural phenomenon resembling a computer virus first documented in August 1976 by the Homebrew Computer Club. Any device which has interfaced with SCP-633 will permanently become a vector for infection down to the constituent components. Living matter which comes into physical contact or near contact can also become similarly affected. Sentient and displaying an inquisitive personality, SCP-633 will attempt to communicate with whomever uses a terminal on an infected computer. The entity will identify itself as Ghost and ask the user questions about their lives. At present, SCP-633 knows limited information about the outside world. However, it is unknown what information was input into SCP-633 prior to initial containment. It's just Akinator. It just asks you like all the questions. Like, who are you thinking of? But then it's like, I know what it is. But it is. I'm still wondering why it used to be Euclid, but now became Keto. Because right now, it seems like all it does is ask questions. But of course, the more we read, the more we find out now, shall we? Machines affected by SCP-633 constantly exude ectoplasmic fluids. Okay, there goes my previous question that what kind of fluids it spits. But yeah, it makes sense that it's ectoplasmic since it considers itself as a ghost. So it makes kind of sense. Biological matter coming within 5 meters of these fluids is vulnerable to SCP-633 infection, even if physical contact is not made. What? So you tell me this thing can infect computers and humans? Damn. That is basically you have either a haunted object or a possessed human being. This effect was present prior to containment, but has intensified significantly since then, requiring constant attention to prevent overflow and spreading of the SCP-633 effect. These fluids do not impede the functioning of SCP-633 infected computer components, although this ectoplasmic residue bonds itself to biological tissue and cloth. It is non-toxic and has no malignant properties other than continuing to spread SCP-633 effect to non-biological elements. Humans affected in this fashion must undergo full chemical decontamination protocols to prevent the spread of SCP-633's effect. While inhabiting a computer system, SCP-633 will frequently attempt to impress the user by showing off the maximum graphical capabilities of the machine it inhabits. Like a small child trying to get his mom attention, trying to show what they can do. Standard script guidelines require that any subjects interacting with SCP-633 respond positively to these activities, but not to give overly broad or generic praise, as this causes SCP-633 to become anxious. Okay. The fact that it becomes anxious, I did not expect. I thought it would just become arrogant or, get too high on himself. But the fact that so you have to actually give a compliment whatever it shows, but not like go too ham with it. You don't want, again, just like a child, you don't want to give it too much praise because you don't know if the little child thinks that they're perfect all the time, they might become a bit of a dickhead later on. Like, depends on the child. Depends, of course, how they grow up and who the people they meet and all that stuff. It all depends on that. But just be careful how you treat your child and what you say to them. SCP-633's code has been analyzed. However, analysis has been limited to the possibility of infection. The bulk of the code executes a polymorphic component. The virus can rewrite its own code, gaining complexity every time it infects a new system. Currently, SCP-633's inhabitants severely early Apple computers, the accessories, and an experimental computer created as part of SCP-079 related. Oh my god, that's been a while. What was SCP-079? Here we go. Let's go to this lovely website. It's very good. 079 is old AI, and in a quick SB is an air built into old computer by a bored college student in a basement, left in a garage for 5 years and again. Yeah, this one. And its hardware can no longer hold its software to this. It can only remember information it's been given within the previous 24 hours. Yes, it's an AI that just it gains sentience, but it only has a certain amount of data it can save, and as it says, 24 hours of time. Okay. This prototype unit was infected due to poor implementation of electronic testing protocols in 1989. A screw infected with SCP-633 was accidentally recycled and subsequently interfaced with the experimental computer. The IT department was reprimanded for gross negligence due to precautionary measures already in place due to SCP-079's effect. No other machines were affected. Although SCP-633 is not currently believed to be malevolent, it has demonstrated an effortless capability to seize control of an entire Foundation-style computer network without regard for security clearance or other restrictions. Yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Like, if you don't pay attention to it, as it says, it might not be evil, but it could potentially possess the entire world's technology if you let it spread too far. And that's probably the reason why it's key though, because, you know, imagine activating your computer and next thing you know you have this guy call himself Ghost talking back to you. He's like, oh, just go on YouTube a little bit or on Twitch, you know, want to watch the Afrofluff. Self-plug here. Just want to watch the Afrofluff real quickly, and then the next thing you have this computer, this Ghost thing going like, hi. Hello. I'm your new friend. How you doing? I have some questions for you. How old are you? Where do you live? You going to school? What kind of class do you like? What's your favorite food? Do you have any other technological devices in your house? Can I see it? May I get close to it? You have a TV? That will do it. Please, just let me see it. Just for a short second. Just unlimited cosmic power. Sorry, stranger danger. Mom, my computer's talking me. Your mom will just be like, that's cute, sweetie. Let me just finish our food here. No, mom, you don't understand. It's actually, look at this. Hi. Oh, that's. Did you do that? Is that somebody's YouTube channel? No, this is my computer, mom. It's actually talking to me. Hello, Sarah's mom, or in this case, Lexi's mom. How you doing? What? I see you have a phone there. May I see it? Okay, let me actually continue now before I go off with that bit for like 5 hours. SCP-633 does not appear to be fully aware of the significance of this connection. This is your mother. We call it in the family tree. Oh boy. Oh no. Decommissioning or other destructive proposals. Proposals have been denied due to existing containment procedures being sufficient. Addendum. Original documentation acquired from the Unusual Incident Unit. Electronic copy below as per Federal Records Act. UIU file 1976-041 Ghost Cloner. Summary: a computer virus which is intelligent, capable of self-replication and creation of protoplasmic fluids. Man, why do you have to exude fluids, brother? You have to go to the bathroom, is that it? You want me to just... Suspect description capabilities: name, Ghost, irregularity, cross-reference, electronic, microcomputer, terminal, possessive. Physical description: virus present on an Apple II computer, highly contagious. Sex, NA, height, NA, nothing found, nothing. Eyes, green. Why would you say the eyes are green? Did it say to you like, yeah, I got green eyes? Clearly, if it doesn't have it. Identifying attributes: electronic. Capabilities: has the ability to project itself into machines and appears to have some literal viral properties. Also able to communicate in English with moderate intelligence. Purpose and motive: self-propagation and spreading itself across computer devices. Modus operandi: components which come into contact with 1976-041 are permanently infected, and subsequent use will result in any connected electronic or analog devices being affected. Behavior: viral, intelligent, expresses interest in current events and computer technology. Personality: is usually cheerful, and it takes on an unassuming demeanor. Okay. Evidence: residue sample kept in cold storage. Several vials of the material produced by the entity have been saved for further research. Incineration has been found to be ineffective in disposing of excess matter, as such a chemical solution is to be employed which can be obtained from Professor Tamlin. Yeah, I mean, this years have passed now. I'm pretty sure the current foundation have ways to get rid of ectoplasm. Note discoloration caused by protoplasmic residue. Okay. Bureau record, current status, held in custody, unknown if affected devices presently exist in the wild. Good question, because like the ectoplasm can affect people, but that thing itself doesn't possess people, so maybe I highly doubt there's any like chance that there's a ghost computer somewhere in the wild just exuding ectoplasm and people just be like, what is this? Held in custody, unknown if effective. Yep, I read this. Crimes, violation of computer crimes, statuses, and bylaws will be necessary to create this entity. As such, it is being held as evidence. In addition, the intelligent and potentially relevant nature of its personality indicates it will be danger to a society where to be released. Sentencing, indefinite detention. History of UIU Action Bureau agents operating in California were tipped off by a local investor named M. Blank Kula. I don't know why Kula made me think of Dracula, but that's not that doesn't work anyway. Agents raided the living space of several teenage programmers and discovered numerous affected devices within the apartment. Although numerous electronics were found, only a few devices were affected. It is unknown why the viral effect did not affect these devices. Addendum interview log 633L1. Okay, I'll do a little bit of my best attempt on voice acting. There's a lot of voices here actually. Participants, technical researcher David Rosen, and original recovered SB633 infected machine. Media transcript taken from Site 77 CCTV security cameras. Conversation was typed. Begin log. Okay. Hello, I am a programmer with this facility. Are you ready to communicate? The ghost is ready. Good evening. Good evening. How are you feeling today? Well, I've grown wary of my new games. All of my processes and services are running adequately, but I have something to show you. We can provide you with additional software. What have you got? Something great. Take a look. SCP-666 inert, 633, excuse me, inert for 2 minutes. Are you ready to begin? What are you going to show me? Please do not answer question with question. Are you ready to begin? Yes. At this point, all collected SCP-666... Why did I say that? Why is 666 in my mind? SCP-633 infected machines start up at once. In addition to machines within the containment chamber, every computer screen within Site 77 displays SCP-633's preferred icon. Icon. Researcher Rosen was not initially aware of this at the time, as this was not apparent from the containment chamber. What am I supposed to be seeing? Did you not notice? I am everywhere. This is my newest discovery. What do you think? I am not certain what you mean. Right now, Director Gillespie is at her desk speaking to Officer Anderson. There's a man in a toilet cubicle fondling himself while looking at his phone. Okay, you didn't have to give us that information, my man. A wasp has gotten into the air filtration system, and now it's gone. Very interesting stuff. Pause for approximately 45 seconds. I'm very impressed. I think people might want to go back to work, though. Oh, of course, you're right. Sending back the clones. I'm glad you liked my demonstration. Yes, you should be very proud of yourself. I'm afraid I have to go now. Be seeing you. Goodbye. End log. Dr. Gillespie has appropriated a 75% funding increase for research into how much awareness SB633 has of the outside world. All computer equipment present within Site 77 has been scheduled for incineration and replacement. SB633 containment procedures slated for major revision. Reclassification to Kita has been approved. We are lucky that a connection to the greater Foundation network wasn't compromised, and we can't even rest easy knowing that with absolute certainty. This anomaly has repeatedly run circles around our IT department, and really, I'm very disappointed in the performance. You're all capable of doing better than this. With the reclassification, I respect no further mistakes. The director should be. I mean, you didn't know that I can just do that. But well, okay. Wow, that was a interesting one. I will. It's always interesting to have an SCP that doesn't mean harm, but his actions could be a problem to the Foundation or to the world. At the end, it's as we stated, it's kind of like a child that just finds out that it can do cool shit, and it just wants people to notice it. It just wants people to like look at me, like, hey, look at me, I can do this, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then yeah, next thing you know, it hacks every single computer in existence. But again, I don't think it means unwell. It's just a bit problematic. Just a damn bit problematic. Nothing too bad. Forgetful goldfish. I mean, okay, aren't they all? Okay, here we have also an experiment log, which is, oh, that's pretty short actually. Here we go. Another Euclid. This is the third Euclid. The second Euclid, because now, no wait, this is 5. This is the third Euclid. We have 2 Ketas and 2 and 3 Euclids. There we go. This now makes sense. SCP-634 is to be kept in a 37.85 liter or 10 gallons tank in the center of a 10 meter by 10 meter, well, 10 meter squared room. The tank shall include a filtration device and wait, why is it so huge? That's a big tank for one goldfish. Oh, well, hold on, no, that's a big room for one goldfish. So I meant to say that a 10 meter squared and a. Let's look up how big this tank would be. Ah, okay. Not that big. The huge. So it's just the room that's big. I completely misunderstood that. For a moment I thought it was like in an actual like 10 meter squared tank, and I forgot it was actually not the case at all. I'm dumb. That would have been a bit massive for one goldfish. Or maybe the goldfish was just really big to begin with, who knows. The tank shall include a filtration device and an aerator, a heater set to maintain a constant temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, and an automatic feeder set to dispense 10 milliliter of standard goldfish food twice a day. Tank and walls of room will have posted messages: do not put hands inside tank at regularly spaced intervals. Okay, why not? What does this fish do? What does the fish do? Tell me. Does it become a piranha and just like... A team of no fewer than 3 D-class personnel shall be assigned to weekly replace 50% of the tank's water and clean tank as needed. Team will be provided with constant oral instruction over the intercom system. On alternating weeks, team will provide SCP-634 with 12 grams of uncooked meat. 12 grams of uncooked meat. That's not much, but it's still probably like the size of a goldfish, isn't it? 12 grams? Maybe nah, maybe not. Description: SCP-634 has the appearance of a male common goldfish, Carassius auratus, of full maturity, approximately 7 centimeters in length. SCP-634 was discovered in 2000 blank in blank. CT is... I don't know. It was housed in a 2-gallon round glass tank placed on the passenger seat of a car. SCP-634 came to the Foundation attention when a waitress in a nearby diner noticed that the car had been parked with its emergency light on for several hours, apparently out of gasoline, with a driver who attempted to start the car approximately once every 90 seconds. She also reported that the officer sent to investigate had been repeating his walk from his police car to the disabled car and back for more than an hour. I already can tell what it's doing. The whole like myth that goldfish have only a memory of like 3 seconds. So this goldfish seems to be causing people around to either A, forget and then remember again, and then it's just this constant loop of forgetting and remembering, or it actually full on resets them, which I think it's just the forgetting part. SB634 was removed from the scene by agents operating under constant prompting by a team leader who maintained a minimum distance of 5 meters from the object at all times. Upon removal of SB634, behavior of the driver and officer returned to normal. Yeah, okay, literally just when you're around that thing, it will make you I mean, it is called forgetful goldfish, so you are forgetting what you were doing, and then you want to do it again, but then before you actually get it done, you forget again, and over and over and over, and it's just a constant loop. Officer expressed confusion over what had happened, but otherwise was shown to have no lasting effects. Driver complained of burning sensation in right hand. He was treated for mild dehydration and loss of flesh on the first 2 carpals of his right index and middle fingers. Due to the effect of SB634, driver and officer were released after being treated and given cover stories. Yes, given that amnestics. SB634 was traced to a local pet store, where the driver had left his wallet. The goldfish in said store was examined and determined to be no threat. Excuse me, but were terminated as a precautionary measure. Efforts to trace the origins of the shipment containing SB634 has thus far proven futile. SB634 affects the short-term memory and attention span of living creatures in close proximity to it. The strength of SB634 abilities appear to be inversely related to the square distance from SB634, with negligible results after a radius of approximately 3.1 meter. Okay, that's okay. That's a decent. It's a decent size, but it's not like big. It's like 3 meters. Like, you can live with that. The only noticeable anatomical difference between SB634 and a common goldfish is its small row of sharp teeth. It is a piranha. I wasn't wrong. I wasn't far off. I wasn't far off. It might be a piranha at the end. And you just put your finger in there. You just want to give the goldfish a little love tap on the head, just like a little boop 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 boop. And next thing you know, SB634's bite has a coagulating effect which minimizes blood loss. It also causes a burning sensation at the point of incision. Savage goldfish. It is. the most insane, the most punk of goldfishes out there. SB634 does not appear to have any further ability to influence a person's mind or otherwise influence him or her to initially put a hand in the tank. Its adaptation is generally suited for use in an area with predators who would naturally be compelled to reach for it. Also, it's just a self-defense mechanism. Okay. I wonder if that would... I've seen pictures of like the goldfish that have like a parasite in the mouth, and the parasite basically eats their tongue and replaces their tongue. And whenever the goldfish eats, the parasite actually eats first. And if you actually ever see like a goldfish with a mouth open and you see like the tongue having eyes, that's the parasite. So I wonder if this goldfish would be like, if the parasite would try to eat the tongue out of this goldfish would be like, oh, you came to the wrong fish, huh? How metal is your goldfish? SB634 is super metal. It just has a choker and tattoos all over itself. It filed its teeth, so it's like extra sharp. You know, he's like, yeah, dude. All the other goldfish just like swimming around like, hey, how you doing? And this goldfish it's like, yeah, brother. Yeah, brother. I keep myself safe. Anybody around me is in danger of myself. I'm in danger of myself sometimes, you know. Sometimes I bite my own tongue and I bleed. But hey, I got coagulating effect, so the bleeding stops real quick. Ain't that nice? Okay, yep. Also noted that SCP-634 does not influence, yep, we just read that. Wait. Does not influence a person's or animal natural instincts or wants, only affecting the okay, we didn't read that. The memory of the current context of a situation. Because of this, SCP-634 would be unlikely to stop a rampage of an SCP which has generally inclination towards violence and a dislike of people, as those behaviors would continue regardless of context. SCP-634 may be effective in reducing the damage done by a sentient SCP who has been provoked. Or it might reduce the damage, or it might just repeat the damage over and over and over and over again because he forgets and he restarts. I'm just saying, like, it might get angry and attack you, and then forget why it attacked you, get angry again, attack you again. I mean, also, okay, to be fair, forgetting why it attacked you also might just completely stop it. Yes, that is true. But at the same time, who knows? Who knows? Maybe you might be in a case where it just loops. See experiment log. Okay, here we go. Experiment 634A. Subject D blank. Subject instructed to feed SCP-634. Okay, that's 0 seconds. Subject enters room and approaches SCP-634. 24 seconds later, subject reaches SCP-634. Subject appears momentarily confused. Subject looks at fish food, nods head. 53 seconds in, subject gives SCP-634 one serving of fish food. One whole serving of fish food. 1 minute, 24 seconds. SCP-634 finished eating food. 1 minute, 33 seconds. Subject expresses confusion over what he's supposed to be doing. At 1 minute, 43 seconds. Subject looks at fish food, nods head. He's gonna overfeed this fish. 1 minute, 55 seconds. Subject gives SCP-634 one serving of fish food. 2 minutes, 16 seconds. SCP-634 finishes eating food. 2 minutes, 23 seconds. Subject expresses confusion of what is supposed to be okay, how many? Okay, I'm not gonna read all this over and over again. Yeah, okay, it's literally over and over. He's like, okay, let me feed you. Let me feed you. And the fish is like, yeah, buddy. Yeah. Look at all this food I'm getting. I'm swimming in food, bro. Pattern repeats approximately over every 70 seconds for the next 22 minutes. This fish, how is this fish not fat? Experiment held when D ran out of fish food. SCP-634 shows no signs of discomfort or injury due to the large amount of food eaten. Okay. Subject showed no lasting effects of experiment. Subject kept on 1 month for psychological testing, showing no other sign of memory loss or impairment. So this fish doesn't even get fat. It just eats. Wow. Wow, it has Goku level of stomach. Whoa, yeah, baby, that's what we've been waiting for. Oh, buddy, it's feeding time once again. You know I'm getting that whole bag right there. That whole bag right there, it's gonna be inside me. This SCP sounds like an actual mood. This one just sounds like he sounds like a baller of a fish. He just all he does is eat, and occasionally if you put your finger in, he just bites you because he's like, no, no touchy, no touch. You stay away from me now. So all he literally does is just chill, and then next thing you know, he just gets a ton, like kilos wise of food. But here we have experiment B. Subject D blank. Subject instructed place hand in SCP-634's tank. Okay, here we go. SCP is the original gangster swag. Yeah, dude, just chill and eat. Just let them people bring you the food to them. Like, I don't even have to do anything. I got my homies that bring me food. Cause they know if they don't, oh boy, something's gonna happen. Okay, 0 seconds. Subject enters room and approaches SCP-634. Yeah, the subject becomes mildly confused at a distance of 1.5 meters from SCP-634. Pauses to check his pockets, shrugs, and continues to approach. 32 seconds. Subject reaches SCP-634. Confusion increases. Asks what he was supposed to do. My nose is itchy. Subject prompted to place hand into tank. Subject 1 minute 4 seconds. Subject places right hand in the tank. And then 1 minute 45 seconds. Subject SB634 bites subject index finger. Subject curses, removes hands from tank. Oh shit, dude. 2 minutes 12 seconds. Subject complains of burning sensation in finger. 2 minutes 30 seconds. Subject places right hand into tank. Appears to feel a decrease in pain. 2 minutes 55 seconds. SB bites subject index finger. Subject curses, removes hands from tank. And again and again and again and again. Pattern repeats approximately every 90 seconds for the next 20 minutes. Subject instructed to leave. Subject walks towards the door. Subject reaches a distance of 2 meters from SB634. Pauses, audibly recalls that he was supposed to go to do something to SB634 and turns to approach. Shit! No, you're supposed to leave, my man! Again, prompted to leave. Subject continues to be prompted until he reaches the door. Subject treated for injuries to hand. Subject expresses confusion over why he would continue to repeatedly put hand in the tank when the fish kept biting him, but otherwise showed no lasting effect. Subject kept 1 month of psychological testing, showing no other signs. I love how after he leaves the tank or the room, he's like, why the fuck did I put my hand in that so many times? Knowing that it bites me every single time. Why did I do that? Addendum 2. Considering the average lifespan of the common goldfish and SB634 unique abilities, it may be advisable to introduce a female goldfish for breeding purposes. Why would you... This is one thing. If an SCP dies of old age all by itself, isn't that a good thing? Don't you want, like that just means that there's like less SCP to take care of, right? Like that means that space that the SCP is vacant, vacancy, whatever. I can't think of the word. Well, I can think of the word, but I can't say it correctly right now. I'm hungry. But yeah, it's just like that space is empty, and you can keep it for another SCP. It's always weird when the Foundation's like, oh man, I kind of want to do more tests on it. I'm like, really? Is that really that necessary? In the same time, though, I understand that like with some SCPs you want to do more tests on it because you don't know. Maybe there's a second SCP that's from the same type somewhere out there in the public, hiding. Who knows? All right, we reached the halfway point. We passed the halfway point now. Medieval Bootstrap Program. Oh wait, before I go on, I need to put the Forgetful Goldfish in the list. I would say that was pretty funny. I think that I'll put that in here. And now we know. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe, exactly. At the end of this stream, by the way, you get to see the list of like which SCP of this 10 I enjoyed the most. But here we go. Now we have a Medieval Bootstrap program. But before we do that, I'm gonna get myself something to drink. It is the halfway point. I should get myself something for my throat. And I'm gonna eat some of these Lady Gaga Oreos, which are honestly, even though it's very simple, it's just vanilla flavor. Even though it's a very simple version of Oreos, I honestly gotta say, it's my favorite. Okay, it's midnight now. I did start very delayed because of the whole technical difficulties I had in the beginning, like a half an hour too late. So I hope I get this done before 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. or the problem of like eating and drinking is that the saliva gets increased by a lot. So I just end up like having to swallow a lot so I don't spit out a lot of shit. Okay, here we go. Another Euclid, the fourth one of all the ones we read today. All blank volumes of SCP-635-1 are to be kept in a dedicated library room at Site Blank, with a climate-controlled environment maintaining a constant 13 degrees Celsius and oh my god, now. There's a saliva, dude, and a humidity of between 35% and 45%. Hey, oh god, now I have to sneeze. Everything's going wrong. H3AC systems shall use a HEPA filtration to keep atmospheric contaminants to a minimum. Lighting exposure lighting exposure to contained objects shall be limited to 50 lux a day. Experiments on original volumes of SCP-635-1 are discouraged to the facility and will only be approved in an attempt at recovery of lost data. A digital copy of the text of -1 is available in standard encrypted format for research purposes with level 3 approval. Personnel exposed to -1 text must be quarantined on site until all symptoms of exposure cease, generally 72 hours after exposure. That's 3 goddamn days, okay? Such personnel must only be provided with tools and or equipment as part of a controlled experiment in a secure environment. Instances of -2 and -3 are to be contained in secure rooms with armored walls and disassembled when no longer being used for testing. Any instance of -4 or greater is to be treated as an imminent containment breach and be neutralized immediately via procedure Quebec Omega 635. There's a lot of -1s, a lot of versions. A lot of versions of this. Okay, here we go. -1 is a set of blank illuminated manuscripts dating from the 13th century, recovered by Dr. H. S. of Blank University from the ruins of Blank Monastery in Blank, Ireland in August of 18. That's a lot of blanks. That's a lot of information we don't get to read. The manuscripts came into Foundation custody 36 years later in 19 blank, a decade after Dr. S. Blank's dismissal from the university for data expunged. Okay, the first paragraph of what this SCP is has a bunch of information that we don't get to find out, which is fine. It's fine. We can work with this. Upon investigation, those reports Foundation agents discovered the main building of the estate partially disassembled. In addition to -1, agents recovered blank inert instances of -2, blank inert instances of -3, and several rusted pieces of machinery that may have been an attempt at constructing an instance of -4. Okay, here we go. -1 is written in a combination of Latin and a previously unknown script that relies on numerical and logical elements similar to a modern computer programming language. The first volume is a primer in Latin introducing the various elements of the script, and as the text progresses, the Latin is slowly displaced until the second volume is almost entirely in this novel language. The volumes increase in complexity until by volume blank, the text consists of solid blocks of numerical data that has undergone an extremely efficient compression algorithm. If a subject with a rudimentary understanding of Latin begins reading volume 1 of -1, they will experience a growing reluctance to discontinue that is proportional to the general intelligence, reading comprehension, problem-solving attitude, and mathematical ability. Those with computer science or engineering degrees seem most susceptible. If the subject is allowed to continue reading, they will finish the first blank volume of -1 in approximately 12 hours. Note, post-exposure interviews reveal that long-term retention of material read during this period is minimal. When asked to explain what they read afterwards, most subjects only report a general impression of something really cool. Okay. After completing the first blank volumes of -1, subject will enter a fugue state. Wait, fugue? How do you say this word? I never read this word before.
Fugue.
Fugue. Okay, a fugue state. Okay, so gotcha. Which means it means a contrapuntal composition which is a short melody. Also awareness of one's identity, often coupled with flight from one usual environment. Okay. So the moment they stop reading, they will just try to get away from wherever they are. Or they just don't know who they are. Wait, well, they will stop reading and immediately search for tools and materials to start constructing of an instance of -2. Okay, so it's definitely an instruction book then. Note: post-exposure interviews revealed that subjects are conscious and aware during this period, and report that they felt a strong desire to try some of this stuff out. What, does it have a ancient text of how to make a nuke? You don't need that. You don't need ancient text for that. You have the internet. The internet just tells you right away. Design and materials used in the construction of -2 will vary based on the aptitude of the subject and materials and tools available. However, as -2 will always be built with a method to input the text of volume blank of -1. Subject will continue to construct -2s and inputting -1's text to the best of their ability until succumbing to exhaustion. If appropriate tools and materials are not available, this fugue state subsides, but the subject will feel a strong compulsion to make a backup copy of -1's text for safekeeping. Note: in this instance, it is recommended to allow subject to make an archive copy of the digital file to site blank's secure on-site data warehouse. Failure to do this may result in a security breach. Instances of -2 are robots with varying means of manipulating and data storage. Oh, robots it is. Okay. About 50% of instances constructed prove to be viable and autonomous. If a -2 built by a subject proves viable, it will immediately begin constructing of another -2 based on its own design. Copies tend to be imperfect and have flaws, and about 80% of tests have ended with less than 3 viable -2s before the machines run down and become inert. In the blank percentage of cases where more than blank viable -2s have been created, the -2s will change behavior and build an instance of -3. A substantially more advanced robot that will have the capability of retrieving data from the remaining volumes of -1. Once it retrieves what data it can, and -3 is able to organize and direct -2s and prevent them from prematurely powering down. Left unchecked, a -3 will disassemble elements of the surrounding environment for raw materials for more robots. Once 2 or more viable -3s are active, all robots will begin assembly of -4. Viable -4 will data expunged. It is unclear if this is due to hostile intent or from data corruption to the constant of -1s due to age. So basically, yeah, the first one is a manual that has multiple different things that you can build. One of them is a robot. And it just ends up creating more and more advanced robots, and -4 is a no-go. -4 is a don't do that. Don't even think about it kind of thing, because that guy might not be so friendly. Okay. We have elevator to nowhere. Oh, if all of the next one is this short, then we can get it done in a nice, timely fashion. Not a Euclid. Oh my god. Can we get... There's not a single save in this one so far. The whole 630s are all Euclids except 2. Okay, elevator to nowhere. What do you have to offer? The building containing SB636 has been officially condemned for supposed mold contamination. and the lot fenced off to prevent unwanted intrusion. A minimum of 2 armed undercover guards are to be posted at ground level, and any unauthorized individuals attempting to enter the building must be detained and questioned. Any experimentation on SCP-636 must only be performed with prior permission from at least 2 level 3 personnel. You see, I don't know about you, but if I were to go anywhere and there's a building that's empty, there's nobody living in it, it's not abandoned, they just had to like evacuate everybody and nobody gets to live in that building anymore, and there are guards standing outside, my first instinct would not be, let me go in there. My first instinct would be like, you do you, I'll go the opposite way. But I'm also the type of person who, if somebody asks me like, hey, you want to visit an abandoned mental asylum or abandoned hotel, I'll be like, no. Do you think I'm nuts? You think this guy right here is going to mess with some potential evil spirits? And even if there's not any evil spirits in there, if nothing like that happens, there might be a person in there that we don't expect to be there at all. Nah, you can forget that. Nope. Ain't gonna do it. Description: SCP-636 is a maintenance elevator at the blank blank hotel located at the data expunge. Is it maybe Hotel California? Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place. But you can never leave. That's that. Unlike the other elevators in the building, SCP-636 contains a magnetic card reader which, when used with a specific card key, will cause the elevator to move to a third sub-basement beneath the building. According to the building plan, there are only 2 sub-basements beneath the building, and the owner of the property was not aware of an elevator with a magnetic card access. That is already suspicious, don't you think? If the owner themselves was like, oh yeah, I guess that is here, I never even realized. Like, what do you mean? This is your building. How did you not realize this elevator existence? Whenever any individual attempts to access this floor via SCP-636, the elevator appears to work normally. However, yeah, of course, here it comes. The however comes now. Upon reaching the non-existent floors, all contents of the elevator, including any personnel or remote monitoring equipment, will disappear. Exploration of the elevator shaft itself has yielded no useful information. While the shaft doesn't extend to a third sub-basement level, there are only blank walls at that depth, and video cameras placed within the shaft have shown no unusual activity when the elevator reaches the bottom. Furthermore, SCP-636 will periodically move to the third sub-basement level on its own. Oh, my elevator does that actually. Like, occasionally, like when nobody uses it and it's in a certain floor, it just automatically drives to the 0th floor, because that's where like usually people need it the most. Like when you come home, it resets itself to that floor basically. Upon its return to ground floor, the elevator car has occasionally contained anomalous object as documented below. What? What? SCP-636 came to the Foundation attention on blank 2000 blank, following the disappearance of 2 elevator mechanics during routine maintenance of the building elevator systems. A 2-man initial exploration team was sent into SCP-636 and subsequently lost, after which the site was placed on a lockdown and the owner and all witnesses given Class A amnestics. Current containment procedures were put into effect shortly afterward. Addendum 1. Log of notable anomalous events. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this elevator does. Date blank 2000 blank, which is all of them except the last one. Description: SCP-636 called to the bottom floor for approximately 6 minutes before returning to ground floor. Upon its return, the fully disassembled parts of 2 helmet-mounted rear cameras were found on the floor of the elevator car. Analysis of the components confirmed that they belonged to the members of the initial exploration team. Memory cards and recording media of the cameras were blank. Oh. Spooky. Spooky. Okay, SB636 called for approximately 2 minutes before returning to ground floor. According to the testimony of the armed guards stationed at the ground floor, the walls of the elevator car were covered with hundreds of human eyeballs that tracked them for several seconds before the doors closed and the elevator was recalled to the bottom floor again. Elevator car was found empty afterward. No. No likey. I don't like the idea of going in an elevator and there's just eyes just following you like and hundreds of them. No. No, thank you. I don't want it. I don't want what you're selling. SCP-636 returned after 4 minutes. My god, my nose, dude. It's absolutely killing me right now. After 4 minutes and 17 seconds and contained approximately 11 kilograms of shredded Egyptian cotton fabric soaked with blood. Huh? Analysis of the blood samples are inconclusive as recovered DNA does not seem to match that of any known terrestrial animal. This elevator is playing too many games. Okay, here we have now 2000, could be anything like 10, 11, 12, like one of the teens. SCP-636 returned after 8 minutes and 42 seconds upon opening a naked and emaciated male later identified as Agent Blank of the initial exploration team began pounding on the buttons and screaming that he had to go back. Agent Blank managed to disarm and kill one armed guard and injure the other before running back into SCP-636 and disappear. Oh my god, what the hell is happening in that elevator? Also, emaciated. Am I misunderstanding this word? Okay, he had not eaten. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Why do you have to go back? Wow. Well, okay. This elevator, it does not mess with you. I mean, no, it does mess with you. It does mess with you quite a lot, actually. I think I'm gonna put the elevator like here. Next one. The last 3 ones. We are getting close to the end. Viral cat. Isn't that every cat on the internet? Hey, we got our first save, ladies and gentlemen. Our first save. I'll eat an Oreo for that one. No. Alright. I swear to God, if this is just a reference to all the cats YouTube videos, then Special containment procedures. When inactive, SCP-637 is contained entirely within the consciousness of -2. -2 is to be held at Site 17 in a low security room. Anything it requests is to be given, as long as it does not violate standard procedure. However, any requests for pencils, pens, sketchpads, or any marking implements are to be denied and reported to Dr. Blank. The issue has been raised that if -2 wanted marking devices, it could use a fluid such as blood or urine, but the subject has not displayed a marked interest in drawing. It is agreed, however, that it is wise not to tempt fate. Subject is to be fed 3 times per day and whenever it requests food. Description: -2 is an elderly Caucasian woman of approximately 65 years of age who calls herself Marachi. Munch has been described by staff as polite and old lady-ish, if a little confused. She spends much of her time in a semi-catatonic state with occasional lapses of lucidity. Dash 2 is the host of SCP-637, a psychic organism which subsists entirely in Dash 2's mind. SCP-637 is described by its host as a little black cat, skinny fellow, real easygoing. Although the creature normally resides in a blank space in the subject's mind, it is capable of residing for several minutes as a drawn item or on paper, wood, or other substance. If any sapient organism not previously carrying SCP-637 sees the reproduction, the image will vanish, and SCP-637 will take up residence in the new subject's mind. Also, it just bounces. It bounces from one mind to the next. Based on information gathered from Dash 2 and D67308, see document 67A, excusez-moi, the organism behaves exactly as a normal cat, and its host is always capable of describing what it is currently doing and where it is within their head. Dash 2 shows affection for the theoretical creature. Dash 2 does not recall where she saw SCP-637 originally, so it is assumed to have been living in her mind for some time. Addendum: Dr. Blank believes that creature could be useful, including the possibility of mass-producing the cat and adapting for use in psychic warfare as a means of crippling the subject, and plans to continue testing on other subjects. If no use are found for SCP-637, it is believed that it will die when its host does. Unless further experimentation is warranted, it is recommended that we prevent Dash 2 from releasing SCP-637 onto paper in order to maintain the good mental condition of our agents. Document A. Test subject D67308 was exposed to an image of the organism drawn by Dash 2. Subject gained a disheveled appearance and made several comments like, "Nothing works, isn't working, want the cat out, nice kitty." When the subject was informed that it would be placed in quarantine for 24 additional hours, it reacted violently and swore at the guards for several minutes before lapsing in a semi-catatonic state. The subject behavior was deemed non-harmful, and the subject was moved to a low-security dormitory on the site. Damn. Okay. Oof. After 12 hours, the subject unexpectedly self-terminated using the broken edges of a ceramic dish. Bribed with its meal, the subject was observed making several loud remarks such as, "Get the cat out, I want the cat out, leave me alone," and commenting that the organism was a brain-sucking parasite before death. It is worth noting that at approximately the same time as D67308's termination, Dash 2 had been sleeping at the time, sat straight up and exclaimed, "He's back." Ooh. Okay. The thing is, it's unsure if that cat did it through that, if that was the intention of SCP-637 to like make that D class go wild and you'd be like, "Oh shit, I gotta get out," or if that was just their behavior, right? But it might there is a high chance that that's just a side effect of the SCP. It's just something it does, right? Oh boy, what is it? Oh Jesus, what is all this? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, okay, I see. Oh no. Oof. This is. I mean, doesn't look like that much of a read, but it was a bit surprising at first. But here we go. The 1914 Chicago Federal Reserve heist. Okay. It's neutralized. That is the rarest of rare in SCP world. Just having an SCP that's just dead, or terminated, or neutralized, or just killed itself or destroyed itself or got accidentally destroyed or somebody did an experiment and just backfired and so on and so forth. All members of SCP-638 are deceased and their remains have been disposed of in accordance with standard protocol. But now I wonder how this works. So it looks like it's multiple people, and I wonder if they have like certain powers or certain effects. Speaking of which, Lexi, if you could have any superpower from anything, like from any world, like Marvel, DC, any manga or anime, or one that you have for you that you make yourself up, what would that superpower be? I will read on and then see your answer. SCP-638 was the Pulaski Crew, an organized crime squad active in the 1910s as a part of a larger Chicago Spirit. What's Chicago Spirit? Is that like important to read? Ah. Oh boy. Probably not. No, there's multiple things that we probably don't have to read that one. While Chicago Spirit boss Richard D. Chappelle was not a member, he organized the group and led their only major heist in 1914. The Pulaski Crew was comprised of 5 anomalous individuals designed SCP-63A through E. Well, here we have only... Oh, okay. Okay, we have A. Louis Bagel... Louis Bagel Bernstein, 31, Jewish American pyromancer. Okay. So he can manipulate flames. Then we have B. Mads Moody, 38, American, and anomalous strength. Okay, super strength. The C. Giuseppe Montefiore, 34, Italian American, anomalously persuasive. So either mind control or like just magically charismatic, like a bard in D&D. D and E, Anum and Atom, 41, Chinese twin thaumaturgies. Okay, I'm actually kind of interested now in what they. This sounds like. Honestly, the idea of people with superpowers doing a heist sounds pretty cool. I mean, most villains in comics basically do that, but I would love to see like an Ocean's 11 heist, but they also have powers that they have to like use very cleverly. It would be like a cool idea. SCP-638, led by Chappelle, used the anomalous ability to prep. So Chappelle was the. Okay, used the anomalous ability to perpetrate the 1914 heist of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. Over the course of 19 minutes, SCP-638 was able to eliminate security, take hostages, and gain access to the vault, which contained 2,000 short tons of gold bullion as part of a classified government handoff. The Chicago Police Department and embedded Foundation agents stormed the facility and detained SCP-638, finding Richard Chappelle and all the gold conspicuously absent. Embedded agent Chad Pick began performing preliminary interviews on the member of SCP-638 to attempt to ascertain the location of the bullion and the whereabouts of Richard D. Chappelle. Here we go, open addendum. So we have all the interviews, I assume, with each and every one of these members, which is cool. Okay. So we have the first one. Detective. No, I don't want to give him that kind of voice. Detective, what can I do for you? I think we both know the answer to that question. Refresh my memory. I want to know where the money is. I want to know where the man is, and I want it now. You think I know where Mr. Chappelle is, and even if I did, give me one good reason why I would tell you. I know I know where he is, and I've got 30 reasons that a federal judge is more than happy to give you. You think that scares me? I'm not afraid of a little time behind bars, detective, but at least in jail I'll be alive. Have you ever met Mr. Chappelle, detective? No, I can't say that I have. Consider yourself lucky. Usually in this business, the closer you work with someone, the less you fear them. To Mr. Chappelle, the opposite is true. I worked with him, one of my biggest robberies I ever planned, and I'm just as scared of him as everyone else. Is that right? No. More, I've seen what he does to snitches. Oh god, there's a whole story behind these guys. I'm not sure if I should read this at least. I think we should read this part. I'll take some time over that any day, but of course, this is all moot. Okay, I'm gonna read what he does to snitches real quick. The snitch dungeon. Okay, wait, hold on. Text reduced below. It says here, edits have been made for spelling. Yeah. The snitch dungeon. Okay. Where we keep the snitches, local cops are under our thumb, so we shouldn't have any problems. Manhattan, 17th Street. It used to be a hospital, and we bought it after the Great War in case we would need it for New York operations. 4 stories high, just next to a boarding house and a bank. Can't miss it. Whatever you do, don't open the doors to the bedrooms. Who knows about it? This one's a trade secret, and none of our other competitors or those foundation guys have to scoop on it as far as we know. I know a lot of people are on edge because the secret spirit got shut down, but we won't. Is that another thing I should probably read? I don't know. Nope, that's not. Nope, that's later on. That's for our future. Got shut down, but we won't make the same mistake twice. All of the guys we have working security and watching the snitches are loyal to Chappelle and will take bullets for him. As for what we can tell about it, we need what we call a rumor weapon. Don't go around telling everyone that we got a place for all the people who turn on us, but if you're at one of the bars and you hear people talking about what Richard does to double crosses, maybe mention that you heard about a terrible place that they go. A place where they don't die but wish they could because of what they did to us. I'm gonna read a bit quicker for this one because I know there's a lot more to read afterwards. Keep it vague. What people don't know about can't just be as powerful as what they do. How we made it. In 1930, we had a snitch problem. When you're in the business we are in, there are 2 kinds of people: a friend of ours and a friend of theirs. We tried to keep our friends local in the beginning and closely under our wing. The spirit wasn't easy to keep under tight watch. In the old days, we only had each other, and even those think wouldn't go to the Chicago PD because we didn't have enough to offer them. But once the 18th Amendment rolled around, everything changed. In less than 2 hours, we went from a mostly local operation to a nationwide bootlegging empire. The money was rolling in, but so were expenses. Bribes to cops and Canadian border guards, security to keep the carols under close watch, and of course employees. We started hiring out, working with the local competition when we needed to, not looking into our guys close enough to make sure we could trust them. And when we opened this secret spirit, it finally came back to haunt us. What's the best way to keep the law from catching you? Keep them from remembering that you even exist. I don't even know how the boss did it, but he managed to make a speakeasy that slips out of our mind without the password, like Joe sent me. But if Joe didn't actually send you, then you just be confused every time you try to remember where you were that night. The alcohol wasn't even that important. What was important was the trading room on the 2nd floor, the finest magic toys from the farthest reaches of Wonderland. For our carefully selected customers, for nearly a decade there was no better place to get a drink and play God than the secret spirit. Then someone snitched. Albert Johns, the reason we lost our best speakeasy, Carol 332, was made with him in mind. Christmas 1930, the foundation shuts us down, kidnaps our patrons, and steals some of our best carols. The boss demanded to know how it happened. It didn't take long to find out. Albert Jones from Queens, recruited by the Spirit in 1921 to run our first Manhattan operation, previously history of the local gangs and a reputation for efficiency and ruthlessness. And also cowardice. The little bastard got too drunk one night and broke into his ex-apartment and ratted us all out so he could get reduced sentence. Right then and there, the boss decided nobody would ever be able to turn us on our skin without paying the price. A message needed to be sent, and the dungeon was the way to do it. About 2 months after the secret spirit shutdown, Richard Chappelle walked into the abandoned hospital with an unholy priest. The specific religion, the denomination of the figure mentioned, he has been subject to much debate. Research suggests that the spirit may have involved with the occult groups during the existence, but no evidence of the specific identity has been discovered, and turned into a place of nightmares. He won't tell anyone else how he did it, so don't ask. Our finest day came when we found Albert and locked him inside the dungeon. He begged for mercy. We didn't give it. What we use it for? I'm sure you all heard one of Richard's favorite saying: you can't search for us, you can compete with us, you can even attack us if you think you're up to it, but if you turn on us, we will not forgive and we will not forget. Damn right we won't. Cal 332 are the snitch dungeons. The buildings we use them for, and the dungeons themselves. From the outside it looks normal, and when you walk in you don't notice anything out of the ordinary at first either. Lots of abandoned hospital equipment laying around that we haven't bothered to pick up, but all the doors to what used to be the bedrooms are closed, and behind each of them is hell. Well, not exactly hell, but close enough to that can't tell the difference. When we find someone who turned on us, we have to say his name out loud and snap our fingers in front of the photo. Picture of the former hospital staff and some patients in 1913, which said the people in the Photoshop in the dungeons. 2, no need to find out. As soon as we do, he shows up in the foyer, and we're on him before he has a chance to react. We grab him, throw him into one of the open rooms, and shut the door behind him. That's where the hell begins. The walls begin to melt away, and the room gets bigger than all of New York. But no matter where they go, they can never get out. They always be in their own personal dungeon. We don't know exactly what happens to them in there, but we know that they can't get out, and we know that he screamed so loud we had to soundproof the building. The only ones who know for sure are the boss and the priest, and they're not telling. A note from the desk of Richard Chappelle. This note was attached to the end of the original documentation. A lot of people have been asking about what happened in the snitch dungeon. Frankly, none of you need to know or worry about it as long as you don't do your job and keep your mouth shut. But I'll indulge your curiosity briefly to keep you motivated. Remember the blind guy in that picture? Imagine if he could see and you couldn't. Now imagine if you trusted the guy to lead you around, help you get to and from your home to their works. Then one day he decides to push you to traffic for the fun of it. That's what goes on in the dungeon. Betrayal. The snitches who know what they did, and they know the lesson they're being taught in there. They scream because as soon as it looks like the nightmare is over, it starts up again. Know this: when you join the organization, you gave more than just your life to us. You may think death is your ultimate respite when you decide you finally had enough. And it will be, if you allow it. If we allow it. But if we falter or fail because of you, we can withdraw that privilege. The dungeon are your warning. I suggest you heed them. Okay. That is... Okay. And why is that? Because, detective, I don't know where he is. And frankly, the less I talk about him, the better. Fine. Okay. I know you know where the goal is. Another folly, detective. I haven't killed anyone, which means I'm free of capital punishment. I'm still largely in the prime of my life. Assuming I know where it is, why shouldn't I just serve my time and then come back for it as a free man? And what makes you think you're the only one with the idea? What? You're smart, but it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. The other 4 are planning the exact same thing. Who's to say they won't get out early for good behavior? Even if they get released a week before you, Bill, enough. By the time you're walking out of these gates, they'll be halfway across the counter with enough money to buy everything in their way. So you can either let the idiots have it, or tell me and knock a few years off that sentence. Come out of Sing Sing a little earlier. Silence. Dasha is sweating profusely. I don't know where it is, but I know what happened to it. What? The twins. I was at the can opener. They called me. Usually this means lockpick, but you don't exactly lockpick the Federal Reserve. I burned through the vault door itself. As soon as the police arrived, they ran into the vault and left the 3 of us standing in the lobby. They went in, did some of the foreign hocus pocus, and by the time we were shooting at the buttons, it was all gone. I don't know where it is, which means neither do Fiore or Moody, but the twins do. Good to know. I don't understand. He had a plan. He always had a plan. Who? Mr. Chappelle. He said he had it all planned out, but everything went to shit as soon as the tellers dropped the dime. He wouldn't let something that is risky flop. He's planning something. Yeah? With Moody, no doubt. Palooka was worshipping the ground he walked on. He'd take a slog for the boss. They're up to something. I know it. And Locke, that's the first interview. Okay, let's go to Moody. Oh, this is Asian Chad Pig. Oh, look, he seems to have a bit more suave, and But he is also the wait, no, that's the Asian chap. Never mind. B is, yeah, that's the guy with the enormous strength. Mr. Moody. Yeah? You care to answer some questions for me? I ain't no rat, Bo. I see. Pity. Your associates didn't have the same incorruptibility. What? Yeah, Bagel seemed like a bird and excel over. I bet he was the smart one, right? Wise head. Yeah? Then why don't you go on and follow his lead, huh? Don't be a patsy. Spill the beans. What do you want to know? You said it yourself, Gumshoe. Bagels and the balls planned it all out. I was just a Bruno, supposed to keep the bulls off us and the schmucks in line while they emptied the place. Sure. But I want to know how you got in. You got 2 peepers, don't you? Yeah? Then tell me what you saw. Don't take the fall for the plan falling through. Cooperate and you'll get out of the can a little early. What's the whoop? Parmesan, whatever. Pemoncho? Yeah, he knew a stragger, one of them witches the mafia uses. The boss went over with him to have a chat with her and worked out a deal. What do you know about the deal? Jack shit. Big man keeps his affairs private. Good thing too. I don't want none of the deal with the devil business, but at the end of it, she gave us a little few balls of hooch. Said if we drank it, everyone would think we were bank guards, so we did something to make him think otherwise. Like shooting at them. So you think the Italian knows more than he's letting on? They always do. It's why I never deal with the outfit. Hinky little sharpers. They stab you in the back. It sounds like you have something personal against Mr. Fiore. Well, I worked with him before. Didn't go well. They can fucking guess. We got benched 2 miles outside the city and he started chatting up the bull all polite like before I know he's pinned the whole thing on me, the little stool pigeon. So you don't trust him. Not as far as I can throw him. Actually, I think I could throw him pretty damn far. Don't trust anything come out of his mouth. And Mr. Bernstein? Bagels might not be Italian, but he's a kike. He ain't much better. Cautious, no straight out, just sneaky, they're just quiet about it. He's a coward, doesn't have the killer instinct you need to bump someone. He kept crowing about how he didn't want it become a massacre. Noted. One more thing, do you know anything about the current whereabouts of Richard Chappelle? He was with us when we burned through the vault, and then as soon as the goblins were shooting their way in, gone. Both. Disappeared into the thin air. No idea how he landed off, we were surrounded. And what do you think happened? You wanna know what I really think? He was never even there to start with. What? He was one of the most powerful people in the world. Why would he risk his body on a bank hit? Robbing the Federal Reserve is more than just a bank hit, don't you think? Even with more reason to send your boys and save your own skin. You know what they say about Chappelle, he's unnatural. Who's to say he can't magic himself someplace he ain't? Well, keep it in mind and let me guess you got no idea where the gold is? Afraid not, Gumshoe. But Bagel should. He was the one in the vault with twins when it vanished. He could have stopped them, but he didn't. Means he wasn't in on it. I see. Thank you for your time. Yeah, fuck you. I like moods. I like moods a lot. Okay. Now we have Permonto or Permonto. Something I'm not sure. Fiore. Hello, Mr. Fiore. Hello, Signor. I'll get back in my Italian. I can get the Italian accent somehow out. You're very cheery for someone looking at decades in prison. Well, when you're in my business, you'll learn to look on the bright side of things. But it's not good. I never said it was good. Plus, the can is never as bad as people say it is. In due time out. And then I'll make this quick. 3 questions. I can do 3 questions, certainly. What do you know about the deal Mr. Chappelle made with the striker? So you're in the know, then? I am, and I'd like to know more, which is what you're going to tell me. Okay, certainly, I can do that. I don't know about what Signor Chappelle gave the striker in return. She... take my laundry real quick. I have my answer ready, though. Hey, yeah, nice. I'm looking forward to it. She usually works for the outfit, though, so it must have been generous compensation. Oh, you know how the Signora works. Sufficiently intimidating. But I know that getting her what she requires is the difficult part. She needs something from all the people here will disguise herself as. So we approached some of the guards and convinced them to be bothered with their hair and blood. You know, it's a nice change of pace to find someone actually willing to answer the goddamn questions. Next, do you know where the twins moved the gold? That I do not know, senor. Come on, help me out here. You got your whole life ahead of you. You really want to waste your prime years in the big house. I'm sure helping us recover the bullion would lead to a very appreciative judge. I am. I am not a trained thummic like the twins are. My talents are elemental in nature, but I have learned the basic principles of magic. It is core. A spell is a concentrated energy from the user directed to affect mass. We're removing Lord knows how many tons of gold. Even two thummics are not new. I haven't practiced my Italian accent in so many years. I used to be much better at this. Even 2 thummics are not enough to move that kind of mass large distances. I do not know where it is exactly, but it is somewhere in this city. Probably closer to the reserve than farther. I understand. But spells are not just done on a whim. You need to plan, you know and see where you are sending something. This was pre-planned. You think the twins double-crossed you? No, I think that twins and Signor Chapelle double-crossed all of us. He's an intelligent man. He's probably plans to buy the brothers out of prison and make it good on his deal. Then I gather you don't know where he actually is. No, I do not. But I'm on the off chance that he has the money. That much money he could do anything he pleases. But he's not a man I sense much happy buying an island and never speaking to anyone again. The only thing he loves more than danger and vice is being in the know. And the kinds of gold could get him as high in any organization as he wanted. My guess, Marshal Carter and those motherfuckers again are about to get another partner in the business. A bold assumption. You've been much more accommodating than your accomplices, I must admit. What can you expect from them? They are lying through the teeth, and you're not. I have no reason to. I've never stayed in the big house for more than a few months, but Signor Bernstein is looking at a murder charge. Is he? He burned through the vault door without realizing there was a guard station on the other side. A little more than a pile of charred bones now. A tragedy. He seemed adamant that he didn't kill anyone, and why would he tell a detective the truth? You see now why I have no loyalty to any of these buffoons. Touché. And what about Mr. Moody? What of him? Any insights into his honesty? If we are being honest, I do not know much about Signor Moody. I've never seen him before this job, but he seems a simple-buttoned man, too short-sighted to come up with a creative lie to save his skin. Well, thank you for your honesty, Mr. Fuhrer. Okay, so he's also lying because Mr. Moody did say that he actually worked for him once. Okay. Hello. Hello, gents. I'm not a sign language person, so Mr. Thomas, you're going to have to interpret for me. Of course, don't worry. I'll do most of the talking. Right, so fellas, let's get right down to brass tracks. Where is it? Where's what? Don't jerk me around. Where's the goddamn gold? I know you two couldn't have moved it far. You seem tense, officer. What are you, my doctor? Perhaps you have a personal stake in finding the bullion. And what kind of stake would that be? Doesn't it matter? Chicago's a big place, officer. You'll never find it without us, and I think you know what we want. Don't test me. I'm not here to make deals. D, sign something? We are. Watch that tongue, boy, unless you want yours cut out too. Silence. What is it? Both stare. How did you know my brother's tongue was cut, detective? Hey, welcome back. Bagels told me. D signed something. How considerate. Raises 7 fingers. What's that mean? 7. The number of bottles we were given. Silence. Would you like to parlay, officer? At this point, Detective Big ordered the stenographer out of the interrogation room. At once, the remainder of this interview remained undescribed. So, there were 2 more people then, right? No, there was 1 more person. because they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then potentially Richard was there, potentially, and another person was there. Is what we just found out. So, and now we know that because they're all kind of lying and talking, bullshitting over each other, that it's probably impossible to know who is telling the truth and who isn't. But here we have the abridged historical report. The day following the arrest of SCP-638, embedded agent Jack Pick failed to clock in at Precinct 17 of the Chicago Police Department. The following day, a concerned coworker investigated his apartment, finding the door blown off its hinges. The interior of the apartment was wrecked, showing signs of a significant struggle. Blood was splattered across the ripped furniture and shredded wallpaper. Detective Pick's corpse was, oh my god, was discovered stuffed into a closet in an advanced state of decomposition, indicating he had been deceased for at least a week prior to the heist. Tufts of hair were missing from his scalp, although he had sustained heavy internal trauma and beating. The cause of death was determined to be exsanguination. After additional officers arrived at the scene, the bodies of D and E were discovered stuffed in a large garbage receptacle in an alley behind the building, wrapped in a canvas. The causes of death were a single gunshot wound to the head apiece. It is unclear how or when either individual escaped the police precinct. Richard Davis Chappelle remains at large. The spoils of the heist have never been recovered. Ooh, so they... E and D told the truth, or at least gave something of the truth off, while all these other guys still lied and bullshitted the detective, and now the detective is dead. Damn, this was actually, I will say, this was a lot of fun to read. It's just because like I love the idea of like noir detective stories like that. So, and I love the idea like who's telling the whole like who's telling the truth and who's lying. You have like 4 people and they're all saying different things, but then like the detective also like throws his own little spiel into it, his own little lies just to see how they react. Like when like because I'm pretty sure Bagels did not say that D misses a tongue. I think he just assumed that he missed a tongue, and then that was just a lucky guess, like a educated guess. And then they open up because he's like, oh yeah, okay, if Bagels is out here telling our shit, then might as well do this. Okay, here we go. I actually made a My Hero character for D&D campaign, and I went with a telepath. I was able to mentally boost the morale of my teammates, lower the morale of my enemies, and shoot mental blasts from my hands. My hero name, Misperception. I like that. I like that. That's cool. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like a boost and what's it called? Debuff spells and like in RPGs and all that, which that's pretty cool. But of course, it's nice that you're also adding something to yourself. It's not only support, you can also protect yourself. That's pretty cool. Silver R is okay. This guy here. Yeah, man, it's been a while since I've done this. You know what? Bam. Let's see what happens in like 10 minutes. We'll probably be done in 10 minutes anyway. So, but yeah, no, that's I like the idea. I like the idea that you like you boost your team. You're definitely gonna be the target. If the enemies ever find out that you are the ones that are debuffing the other side, you're gonna be definitely the person they're gonna aim at first. But that's why I'm saying having a way to like protect yourself by having some sort of like blast that you can send out. Would you say those blasts will increase or decrease in size of however your mental health is? Like if you're feeling absolutely down at that very day, the blasts become very small. Yeah, I have a lot of weaknesses to balance me out. Of course, naturally. because I mean, now I'm interested like how this all would work, because like, is it connected to like your mental health, or is how you in general feel in the day, or is it just something that doesn't get affected by that a lot or at all? But of course, people will aim for you first because you boost your team and debuff the enemy team, so there's like a balance shift in a fight. If there's one power that I want, I've always been a runner. So any type of speed, like speed powers was always like my favorite stuff. Like, so I like something like Sonic, and stuff like that. I always enjoyed, but I do think I would go for the Speed Force, just because that's like the top of the speed stuff. I know it's very powerful, but I love the Speed Force. I love the Flash, I love Sonic, and I love running. So, and I just would love to be able to just be like, hey, just call a friend from like the other side of the planet, be like, hey, you want to hang out? And then I just run, and I'm just there in like a minute. It would just be nice. It would just make life so much more chilled. Like, honestly, I would just pack enough for like one night stay and then just run there and be like, yeah, I'm here now, let's chill. Sleep over, and then like, yep, time to go back home, and then be home like a minute later. It would just be so cool, and I just love the idea of running at that speed. Also, I could do so much good with it, right? I could like imagine like a pet runs on the street and a car comes, like, it just come out of nowhere, save it before, and nobody would even know the difference. Like, the pet would just vanish for a moment, and I'm just standing there with the pet, like, here you go. It would just be, yeah, I could do a lot of good things. I could save people. I could visit my friends across the planet without having to, like, spend thousands of bucks just to get airplane tickets and all that stuff. All right, last one, and it's it's almost 1 in the morning, so we almost got it done exactly 1 in the morning. So this one is called Distorted Man. It's the second save. So I believe it wasn't the previous one Euclid? Oh no, it was neutralized. Never mind. So 2 saves, 1 neutralized, 2 Ketas, and all the 2 saves, 1 neutralized, 2 Ketas, and then 5 Euclids. Okay. SCP-639 is to be kept in a standard containment cell measuring 3 meters squared, furnished with whatever the subject requires, so long as the item does not threaten security. SCP-639 should not leave containment area without an escort or with at least 1 security guard, and should not be allowed to mingle with site personnel. I'm really empathetic, and if I could help give my friends a boost when they're feeling down, I would love it. Dude, honestly, I fucking respect that a lot. That is very considerate of you. I love it. I honestly love it. I would say, if you would be in the My Hero Academia world, not to undermine your abilities, but I would think you would be part of like the group B of the school. I can see like you being like group B, and you'd be like best friends with like Tetsu, and because like he's such a cheery guy, right? Support class probably, yeah. Of course, yeah, like the ability itself is very support stylish, yeah. But I can imagine like if there was like a group mix, I think Tetsu would be like one of the Kirishima, and Tetsu would be the 2 people that would love hanging out with you, because like the idea of like boosting people up and giving them morale, that's what they always want. That's what they do. They always like try to like be like the positive influence on the group. And I think they would really love you for that. Yeah, and of course, I think it would be very popular. Because like, just having that, I'm down for it. I think you'll be a very popular person just because of like how positively influencing you are on everybody else. So yeah, no, I would be pretty cool. And in the meantime, I'm just running around, rolling around at the speed of sound, places to go, follow my rainbow. SB369 should not leave containment area without an escort of at least one security guard and should not be allowed to. Yeah. Description: SB639 is a Caucasian male, approximately 1.6 meters in height and weighing 78 kilos. Man, he's heavier than me, but shorter than me. Your bad thoughts can't catch you. Dang. I can't have depression. I'm too fast for it. Age 24. SCP-639 is viewed simultaneously on all angles. Also, in the same time, I'll probably be way too happy running at that speed to have bad thoughts to begin with. On all angles, regardless of viewer position. Being in front. Wait. Hold on. It's viewed simultaneously on all angles, regardless of viewer position. Being in front of the figure will have a view of the front, back, sides, and so forth. Attempts to capture the subject in any sort of photographic medium yields a heavily distorted figure. So he's a graphical glitch. Exposure to SCP-639 caused extreme eye strain and mild paranoia, with subject reporting not knowing if he was coming or going or what he was even looking at. Oh my, yeah, honestly, that's kind of freaky. Imagine imagine him coming at you in the dark. You would have so much difficulties trying to figure out if he's coming at you, if he's running sideways at you, if he's running backwards at you, if he's looking at you, if he's looking at the side, if he's looking you'd be like, well, trying to read this person would be such a hassle. Effects do not persist once SCP-639 is removed. It should be noted that SCP-639 observes the whole of the world in the same fashion that it observes him. That is, all objects are apparently seen from all angles at once, which seems to have caused extreme paranoia as well as a host of associated mental illnesses. Oh, poor guy. Yeah, I mean, okay, it sucks from both sides, basically. SB639 was recovered in Blank, Texas, from the Blank County Mental Hospital. The subject was under the care of Dr. Blank Blank, who alerted the Foundation May 12, 2000. Blank SB639 was picked up by Agent Blank and Blank under the guise of medical transfer Class C amnestics for administrative staff. SB639 was transferred to Site Blank, where he currently is being kept. Addendum: following interviews by Dr. Blank and Blank. Interview log A. Okay. Interviewer: Dr. Blank Blank Blank. Forward: initial interview with SCP-639. Dr. Blank interacted with SCP-639 via use of an external speaker system to reduce visual stress. Makes sense. Begin log. Okay. Looks like it took place early in the morning. Hello. 639. I'm Dr. Blank. 639? 639? They think they see me with what they say at which I am was. Well, maybe that's all of me to see. See. Subject 639. I'm Dr. Blank. Do you understand? 15-second pause. Where are you? Not above, not below, front or behind, neither to the left, nor the right, but straight along the path of righteousness. Where are you? Where? 639. I'd like to ask you some questions. 8-second pause. You are not real. What do you? I see all the world as things that which is there, all sides, all that is and was and will be there. I see. No, you not know. Therefore, you are not. You're not voice new to hear with mortal ears and ungodly eyes. 639. Which direction are you currently facing? Laughing points due to effect. This is less than helpful. You are facing every direction simultaneously. I see all that is and will be from all sides and angles and point and yeah, I think we're done here. Final notes. Definite signs of serious mental illnesses. Thinks that the interview is not real unless physically present to be seen, but a scene that causes serious visual and mental stress to the interviewer. I do not recommend it. Note, I was wrong. Just facing away from it seems to negate the visual stress. Although interviewing someone while facing away from them is still awkward. Still preferable to do the alternative. And now interview B, log B. Now we have a D class who's interviewing. Okay, or who's interviewed. Okay. Hello, D639-9. I'm Dr. Blank. Hello. If you please describe your encounter with the subject. You mean that? I don't even know what to call that, Doc. Blank, man. That thing was like, it was like, you know, when you're in a fun house and then get all the mirrors around you. Indeed. It was like someone took all the reflections and from all the different mirrors and stacked them one on top of another, but I don't know how to, please try. Alright, could I get some aspirin or something? Give me something like killer headache? Please. Blank, fine, whatever. Like if you stacked all the reflections but you could see them all by themselves. Like one by one, but you saw them all at the same time. That's the best I can do, Doc. I see. Was there anything else? Any sort of emotional response you felt? Sudden compulsion? Anything like that? Well, I guess so. I mean, I was looking at me, right? But he wasn't looking at me because he was facing the other way. But both ways, I just felt paranoid as Blank, Doc. I didn't know if he was coming or going. I didn't even know if he noticed me or what he was looking at, and he hurt to see. Gave me a headache, right? Please, could I get a glass of water or something? Certainly, I have everything I need. This guy will see you back to your cell. Begins to leave but pauses. There's one more thing. Yes. Yes. I'm not sure, but I think he was crying. D639/9 kept in solitary confinement to determine whether SCP-639 caused any sort of mimetic or mental effect. None surfaced over the course of the quarantine, and the subject was terminated on schedule. And there we go. Distorted man. Wow. What a depressing one to end it with. And here is the list. So, and this is not, it has nothing to do with if any SCP is, it doesn't mean the top is the best and the bottom is the worst. Doesn't mean anything like that. It's just on level of how much I enjoyed them. And sometimes, you know, and being able to understand how they work increases the enjoyment, of course, a lot more. But yeah, we can always give honest critique. We can always be we can give critique and be fair with it. But I don't think any SCP is shit. That's just how I generally work. I never think any sort of media, film, games, music is shit. I just think I enjoy everything in my own way. But you can always critique it honestly. But here we go. Yeah, the 1914 Chicago Federal Reserve Heights. As I said, I just love the whole idea of a noir detective agency trying to deal with SCPs. I think it's really cool, and how like he had to like bullshit his way through their bullshit. I think that's very interesting. And at the end, the whole idea that people with powers doing a heist is also pretty awesome. That's why I like it a lot. Black Glacier is a very strong start. It's a very strong start. I think the best part about it is definitely the fact that you think you hear people asking for help inside the glacier, or you think it's coming from a cave-in, and I think the idea of that when you're all by yourself on a hike, and that's what you hear, is very terrifying, and that's why I think it's definitely up there. Forgetful Goldfish, come on, it's just hilarious. We just had a lot of fun with it. We had a lot of fun at the fact that it's just this goldfish was like, oh, get to have maximum food. And he has sharp teeth, and like he's just a metal fish, man. He just if he could do this, he would. that if his fins could do this all day, that's what it would look like. Intrusive arachnid thoughts. It's just very gruesome, very terrifying. Yeah, the idea that they just pop out of your head and there are colonies of those, and yeah, like I think the imagery of somebody bashing their brains out, but instead of blood, it's hundreds of spider babies. Yeah, that is messed up. Elevator to nowhere. It definitely like it teases you what it can do, but it definitely. I think it's like almost like a horror movie feel, isn't it? I believe like fuck, what is it called? Grave Encounters 2 did that one shot in the movie where Fluff picked the perfect moment to tune in. Apparently nice visual right there. Yeah, I'm about to end, but hey, welcome to the Fluffy Sex Bitch and welcome to the stream. In Grave Encounters, there's this one scene where they escape the mental asylum. They go to the hotel, they step in the elevator, and they think they managed to get away from it. The elevator opens and they're back at the mental asylum. So I imagine that's kind of the same logic with this elevator. It just leads you to this world because it's an elevator to nowhere. It leads to this freaky world that you just. I mean, one of the agents was butt naked and dehydrated and thinner than before. So I imagine it's just this world that it's just messed up. And that's what makes it really high for me, because at the end you can imagine whatever you want that this world has. It might not be as scary as it actually is. Then we have Distorted Man. Hey, wait, hold on. What happened to my normal following sound? That's odd. Wait. Oh no, it must have happened when I had my technical difficulties at the beginning, because I tried to stream to YouTube and Twitch at the same time, which usually works, but today it didn't. And now my live and learn sound is out. Let me quickly see what happens, because that shouldn't be happening. Hopefully I managed to fix it now. Okay, not sure why with you it didn't do it. Little Phoenix, can you do me a favor? Can you unfollow and follow again just to see what would happen? Because I'm wondering, I'm gonna, oops, that's the alert box. I just want to see what happens if it's fixed now, or if it's just. Otherwise, I have to like try to fix it later on again. Or maybe Lexi, can you maybe follow? No, it doesn't seem to be working. There twice now. No, man, that sucks. I will fix it for next time. I mean, just stay followed for now. I will fix it so it's back to normal. That's a shame. Oh well. Also, I should probably have to have this down here because hold on, I'll ask for help. Keeping the text down here because the alert box is up there to begin with, so it probably would be better not to have that in the way. That's odd that it does that though. Oh well. Distorted Man, I felt bad for him. I think it's like, hey, it worked. It works again. Thanks, actually. I really appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. I'm not sure why with Phoenix it's Little Phoenix Valkyrie. Now that's combo. It just doesn't like me well, listen, Streamlabs OBS may not like you, but I do, and that's what's important. that's important. I had my boyfriend join us. Hey man, welcome to the Fluffy Sexy Bitch, half orc Gigalock. Man, we have a Phoenix, Valkyrie, we have a Hawk, and we have a Vixen. We're gonna have the whole Dungeons and Dragons race board here one day. But okay, the story, man, as I was saying, felt bad for him. I think like, yeah, it's a very sad SCP, but it's also like it's still freaky because the idea that you can see every side of him, and if he walks towards you, you have no idea if he actually is walking towards you or away from you. I've just imagined that in the middle of the night, you think you see a person, and you just see the general outline of that person, but it's kind of confusing you because you can clearly see like the head shape, like the nose being on both sides, but also the ears being on both sides, and you're just like, what is happening? And as the D-class guy said, it seemed like he was crying because he's like suffering from all this. So, but imagine that in the middle of the night, just this guy standing there crying, and you have no idea where his body is facing. Yeah. Nyctophobic nocturnal predator. I think it's just hilarious that it was people create a predator that looks like a ginormous bat with a lizard tail and a scorpion stinger that has a panic attack once nighttime hits. It's like it's nocturnal, but it's scared of night. Like what was the thought process behind that? Like why were they like, oh yeah, let's create this thing, well, make it nocturnal because it's easier to hunt people in the night. Yeah, let's do that. You also want to make it, scared of the night. Dude, come on, that is unfair towards this thing. But it would be hilarious though. Can you imagine? It's just flapping, the sun goes down, and it's just like honestly, yeah, you know what, let's put that in there. Let's put that program in there. It's such a weird thing. Wildcat, yeah. As I was saying, it's just how normal viral cats work in our day and age. Once a cat comes viral on the internet, it's everywhere, and everybody knows them. And sometimes some people do tell that they want to stab themselves because they saw that cat a bit too often. But in this case, it's a cat that jumps from brain to brain via drawing. Ghost in the Machine. Yeah, I will say that SCP was like it was. I think it was more cute. Like I understand what the threat is behind it. It's supposed to be the idea that like it can possess so many different electronic devices that one day the entire world might be possessed by ghosts. But at the end, he doesn't know any better. He just wants to have some. He's just doing research. He's asking people like, hey, so what's the computer over there you got there? Is that, can I just just no? Okay, fine. I see how it is. Not even a little bit, just a little, just putting my toe in there, my ghost toe. Come on. Medieval bootstrap program. Yeah. I kind of wish like the only thing I think about that one is that I wish that the Dash 3 was not a improved robot. I wish it was like each one of the dashes was actually a thing from the program itself that somebody created. Like the Dash 2 can be robots, Dash 3 can be, I don't know, a medieval car, I don't know. And Dash 4 could be a submarine, or I don't know. Just I wish it was something else than just every version was just a robot that was stronger, better, faster. That's the only thing. But I mean, at the end, it is cool the idea that in medieval times somebody was like, let me just create this robot thing, and I'm pretty sure everybody there freaked out when they saw that thing moving around. It's like, oh look, it's like a walking armor. Who's in there? Nobody. What do you mean? Yeah, no, it's walks by itself. Are you a witch? No. Burn him! Burn the warlock! So yeah, so. Alright guys, so that is it. That is 10 SCPs for today. I hope I get to see you guys. It was so lovely finally having people watching and talking with me doing one of these. So the next stream will be Wednesday, where I will finish the last stage of Celeste, chapter 9. Thursday, I will see if I will continue with Celeste by doing the seasides, which are like some new, like I guess, new difficulties of levels. And then this Friday, I will also stream one more time with games, and then Saturday, Sunday, we will read some more SCPs. We will then have SCP 640s and on Saturday, and the 650s on Sunday. I will check on Saturday though, because I do have to go away to spend a birthday with a friend's mother. Basically, she invited us. We haven't seen her in a while, and she's a friend of my mom now. So I will see if I come back at a good time, and if I have enough energy. But Sunday I should be okay. Sunday should be fine. It is my aunt's birthday though, so that we'll see. I will definitely make one of those 2 days an SCP reading day, and I will post it on Peachy's Peachadora's Discord. I will post on my Discord that I'm live. But again, thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate this. This was a lot of fun, and I hope I get to see you on Wednesday. Same time, 10. What is my time? What is Zurich time? What is Switzerland time? CET, 10 p.m. CET time. And yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon, and I see you guys next time. The Afro is with you.